Well, hey, welcome to the show before the show, where I check to make sure everything's working. Thanks for joining me. I'm Patrick Marlette, your local game guy, today with a very special deck tech. I don't think we've certainly featured companion decks on the channel before, but have I done one of these before? We might have done Zerda. I don't think we've done Lurrus, though. So today we're going to be building a Lotho and Lurrus. I'm excited for it because I think Lotho is going to be really good in the command zone. Maybe even better than he will be in the 99, though I know most folks are interested in picking him up for that. It's a good effect. I've sung his praises a whole lot here. He dies too in Orcish Bowmasters, provided that they are still legal by the time the set officially releases. And you know what? I'm curious as to your thoughts on all of this. Like, do you care about the ban list? Are you going to defer to that when you build lists to play with your friends? Perhaps your LGS, but for kitchen table, I mean, anything goes, right? Lighting looks okay, right? You guys like this? Too dark? Looks good. Is this going to be cEDH or casual? Well, Hamster Mafia, what would you want? Tell me. What do you want? We'll do that today. That's a lie. This is going to be competitive. So one of the namesakes for this channel has been brewing a better competitive commander. I don't say that anymore, but with your help, maybe we'll tip the scales. We'll make Lotho the best Orzhov list to date. But the idea here is to make this competitive. Yes, we're going to try to put this down on turn 1 every single game, if possible. Shouldn't be difficult, but who knows? You know, there are only so many fast mana tricks to get Lotho out, but I've got a good feeling that we can make this happen. cEDH, Hamster Mafia, sold. Tyler says, woo! Glad I made it. Tyler, glad you're here. Hamster, you know what? Aren't we all? Aren't we all ye who touch magic cards? Decks that are more expensive than $100. I don't know. As soon as I got into this game, though, I mean, yeah, fun was like an objective, right? I mean, that's why I'm playing the game. It's kind of coincidental to the fact I'm enjoying a game, right? Or playing a game that I enjoy. But I remember jumping into Magic multiple times throughout my life, but then Commander most recently, which is to say years ago. And I immediately, as soon as I built my first deck, the wheels started turning on how I can make this more efficient, because that's just how my mind works. So I'm so glad to see that there are a lot of other like-minded players that enjoy playing competitively. You know, I don't know if that debate is still ongoing as to whether cEDH players don't enjoy having a good time. I remember that when I was making content for the 99 and thinking it was stupid. So here I am doing the same degenerate thing, but it's going to be a fun time. It really depends on who you play with. I think that's the most important part. I figured I saw you were doing some more casual focused stuff to diversify. Calling the channel casual now, are we? No, Hamster Mafia. When it comes to the listicles and when it comes to a variety of the evergreen content that's going to be featured on the channel, it's going to cover a wider range of things. But when it comes to these live stream deck techs, unless it says otherwise, they're always going to be geared towards a more competitive scene. As competitive as you can make a mono or dual colored list, because let's be honest, like 4 to 5 color decks just get all the good stuff. So it's hard unless your commander is doing something very, very special. And here we're just making a lot of mana, hopefully, right? So let's cross our fingers that there are no collector oops, right? No root mazes, no anything that's going to stop an artifact base resource from providing us mana, because that's our whole game plan. If that does happen, though, we're going to be moving pretty slow. We're going to have some pretty traditional methods of getting the ball rolling on this whole strategy, although that's worked with other decks in the past, right? In my opinion, Lotho is just here to help us ease into an ad nauseum turn, like get us there quicker, where other lists will have to rely on the rituals within the 99. We've just got this right there in the command zone. Obviously, not so good not having draw, but we have some toys we can play with. We're going to play with I always forget its name. I literally just put it in my Oswald deck. I took it out and I put it back in. The little gnome, the little boy, Archivist of Ogma. we're gonna put that in there. There's a few draw utilities we can put in here. Obviously, with a Lurrus build, you know, we're not gonna have like Necropotence or anything like that to help fill our hand. We're just gonna rely on PETA and Ad Nauseam. Okay, love Lurrus. I had KCI deck built around him, says Johnny. Yeah, that's interesting. Lurrus in the command zone, that is. So I like that a lot, actually. That's quite helpful, having that form of recursion just accessible at all times. And that's sort of the beauty of having Lurrus sideboarded or in the companion zone. We can just call it that for today's episode. He's in the sideboard, and I don't think I left you, actually. I always mean to do this, but I don't think I left the deck list for you guys. But you have it now. There you go. So if you look at the top line of the description, you're going to see Lothorus or Lurtho. While we're still determining the name, it's just going to be one or the other. But yeah, it's there. You can check it out. Spread the love. Share the link if you enjoy this deck and you want more people to play it. If this turns out well, I'm considering building it in paper. I've literally... I want to have another list, and I actually really love playing Orzhov, so any excuse. And I've never owned a companion-based deck, so like all the more... everything's lined up for this to be like an A+ for me so far as strategy and what I want to do when I sit down for Commander, so very excited. Grudo says, hey Pat. Hey Grudo, how are you? Hello, these deck building streams are always amazing. Johan, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And honestly, the best part of all of this is that, you know, I'm an S rank deck builder. I'm one of the best deck builders online. Not true. What I love about doing these is that you guys help me in the areas I'm lacking, which is many, right? And it's fun getting to do these with you all and put our collective minds together to build these lists. And it's difficult for me because I always want to build all these things out in paper. So practicing some restraint is really the biggest issue with these deck builds. But I absolutely love doing these with you guys. I really do appreciate you coming out weekly to join me for these builds. Because I say this every single time, like when we draft Justin's cube, or I'll play anyone's cube, the deck building is my favorite part. Like I could just sit and draft and build decks and not play the game and be satisfied seeing what I've done. You know what I mean? It's almost like the satisfaction you get after building like a Lego. And yeah, I'll still build Legos. Okay, they have the Architect series or whatever. There's some actually really cool Legos out there now, but I'm one of those people. There's a lot of satisfaction in seeing something accomplished. And the beauty of TCGs and CCGs in general is the fact that the thing is never really complete. You know what I mean? Like you've built it to its best extent, and then the next set comes out and you're like, oh man, I need to put these 2 cards in. It's really just the building that gets me most excited. So again, I have to say, it's always been my favorite part. Literally, okay, so I always talk about One Piece here. I'm sorry. But there's an Arlong deck that he's not good. I don't think he's good. I don't think he's like a catch rare. I don't think anyone's going to play him at any of my local game stores. But I really want to build Arlong in OPTCG because set 4, we're set 3 is this weekend. Set 4 has so many amazing cards for him that he's just going to blow up in viability. So I'm gonna definitely make that list in paper and just get ready for the next set, which cannot come soon enough. And then of course, like I have 4 other decks that are like up to date, but then are they really? You know, that's the beauty of all these card games. Like whether you love the set or hate the set, whatever your feelings are towards the set, anytime I see a new card that changes how we effectively build our list and play in a competitive setting or even a casual setting, it's exciting. It's really exciting. Like cards like Orcish Bowmasters, which we will put in the deck. This is going to punish players that just draw out of hand. It's just a great tool for punishing players that have draw in the command zone and that's all they do. I'm excited for it. And that's one of those cards where it's like, oh, this will shape so much of how we build. And that's exciting to me. And the One Ring, my Oswald deck, literally I sold my Metal Worker and I'm so upset about this because I had this really perfect It was like lightly played, but it was really good condition for its age. I'm sure Card Kingdom would have sold it for near mint. I think I sold it to them, by the way. I lost so much money in reserve list cards, just sending them stuff. Make me a sponsored edition, Card Kingdom. I don't know how they pay out their sponsors. You don't have to. There's a TCG player link in the description. Use that instead. I use them for everything else practically, and a majority of my Magic cards. But the One Ring literally shifted the strategy for my Oswald deck. I've gutted it. It's like a tenth of the deck was removed, right? 9 or 10 cards or so have been removed to hyper focus on getting the One Ring out, because it is that good. It is so good. Like when we did the live stream gameplay with 1 mana short, it was okay. Because it was the only thing I replaced in the deck. Like the deck strategy was still more or less the same, but now with all of this mass draw accessible by turn 2, turn 3, depending on how you play your hand or how you mulligan, oh my god, it's so good. But I love cards that help shape decks, especially when the deck strategy is reliant on a singular thing, like Oswald artifacts. Obviously, the One Ring was going to be amazing, and it is amazing. But I'm so excited to build that out. Thing is, I need a metal worker again, so that sucks. But I'm excited to make that happen. Justin has a metal worker. He said he'd sell me, so unless I can find a cheaper one. Sorry, Justin. Because I don't care if it's damaged or what. Like, it could be the worst condition. It could be trampled on, like $50, and I will put it in the deck. Won't matter. Let's see. First thought was bloopity bloop bloop. First thought when I saw... Wait, I'm sorry. I might have missed some? No, Wizard. First thought when I saw Lotho spoiled was a Lurrus commander. Very happy to see you building this pair. Yeah, I'm excited to build it, honestly. Abby says, hey, Abby, you have a deck list too, right? When you're done with your deck list, right, or you are done, feel free to leave it in the comments. I'd like to see it. Like I said, I'm curious to see other Lotho and Lurrus builds, for sure. Let's see here. So, Rare, I'm here on time, drafting Lord of the Rings later tonight. Love the set. Bloodblade. Yeah, I'm so curious what... I know there are like several archetypes built into the sealed / draft experience. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it so far. Like, Wizards of the Coast, part of being a brand ambassador is some of the perks is swag, and I have none of it near me. There's a whole box of stuff over there, but they're also sending product, and I think we're getting draft boosters, so I'm very excited to draft as soon as I have those. And I don't know how I can share that experience outside of like photos in the community post, but I'd love to start sharing some of that stuff with you guys. But yeah, I'm super stoked. I know you didn't want to see my list before the stream to change your idea of it. No, I will happily see it later for sure. I just, it's weird. I like, obviously you give your opinion, you lend your opinion to the build. Like that's the whole part of this live stream brewing session. I just don't want to come in with too many thoughts, because part of the fun is solving the equation together, right? We're not in blue. Make the dad joke, make it. But solving the equation together is part of the fun. Esper Sentinel, at least. Yes, obviously. Esper Sentinel, Dark Confidant. Hell, I'll even put Call of the Ring. Call of the Ring would be really sick in here. I'm just pushing it some more. But yes, all of the 2 CMC and underdraw utilities. How about Hoarding Broodlord? Just not this version of the deck. Sorry, Bloodblade. Just because we're on Lurrus. I love Lurrus because I don't play Legacy, so it's great to see this being brewed, says Grudo. Yeah. Can't do Hoarding Broodlord, thank you. My favorite interaction and why I make so many Lurrus decks is Standstill plus Lurrus. Hold up. Standstill Lurrus, that's so nutty. Here, I'll share it with you guys. So, whenever a player plays a spell, sacrifice Standstill. If you do, each of that player's opponents draws 3 cards. The thing I like about it, outside of the Heather Hudson art, is the flavor text. Take your time. And while you're deciding, we're all just going to benefit. What's interesting, though, is now that you can add Orcish Bowmasters to this, you are just punishing people. Anyways. I'm excited about Orcish Bowmasters. Can you tell? Let's see here. Good point. Thanks. Can't find your deck list. Where is it? It should be the top line of the description. So if you're joining in now, we haven't started the brew quite yet, so don't worry. We've got a couple more minutes before I actually start this one off. I just want to give you guys time, a little bit of time to shuffle in. But there should be, if you refresh your page, I just added it, but the deck list should be the top line. The deck list should be the top line of the description. If it doesn't work, let me know and I'll make sure it works for you. Okay. Absolutely, me too, Pat. I'm 100% here in Magic for building decks. If I play them, that's incidentally nice. Also, any particular reason for tapped out over Moxfield, Daniel White? Ads. Ads. I don't find that to be a fun visual experience for you all. So what I recommend is if you want to build this on Moxfield, you can actually just copy and paste the URL over there and have it on Moxfield or Architect or whatever. But yeah, I don't like the Moxfield experience. Never have. Okay. What is black-white good at? What is black and white good at? That's a good question. Silencing people and not drawing, but putting cards in hand. That's what black and white are good at. Obviously, there are more things there, but so far as like the game winningest things, it's having the best tutors, it's having the best silence effects, it's having the best like stacks effects, right? Like a Grand Abolisher. It will be damning. We're not going to run one because I'm not that kind of player. But if you want to run a Grand Abolisher, you can. It's so lame. You just don't want to play with anyone? You decided tonight you don't want to play with anyone? Okay. It's fine. It's so weird when you play Grand Abolisher and pass as well, because there can be a few turns that just go by and you do nothing. And then sort of the threat level of Grand Abolisher drops. Whereas, like, you should always just kill that thing. Particularly if you have Orcish Bowmaster. Kill the Grand Abolisher. So good. So good. Hope you all enjoyed the deck. It's a very crude primer. First primer I wrote. No kidding. Well, I'm sure it's going to be great. Do you have a loopable wheel we could use? Could try to build into Bowmasters, actually. The only wheels that are in this color are Dark Deal, to my knowledge. Sickening Dreams is a great card in this build due to picking up half your deck. Hello, Lilith. I'm hunting you down in Diablo 4 right now. Hi. Refreshed it. It's there. Perfect. Black-white is good at control, recursion, tutors. Grand Abolisher, Bowmaster, wheel, loops, though. Yeah, I know. I do not like Grand Abolisher as much of a silence. Not the worst, but not as much of a must include. I kind of feel the same way. Like, I don't feel like it's absolutely necessary to slam Grand Abolisher in every deck. And to the people that do, like, it needs to come out before the ad nauseum, or what's the point? Like, if you ad nauseum and then you play a Grand Abolisher after the ad nauseum, it's like, no one stopped you. Like, no one stopped you from doing ad nauseum, right? Are you that worried? It's just like the tedium of watching them, like, I need to get 2 white mana sources. It's like, just play. At that point, I'll be like, hey, you know what? You win. Let's do another game. Normally, I'm ready to throw in the towel after an ad nauseum. It depends on the deck. Like, in most cases, you've just won. And that's why I think that this deck is going to be so successful. And now we'll officially start. Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Patrick Marlette, your local game guy. And today we're going to be brewing Lotho and Lurrus. They're on the screen this very second. So these two, if you haven't seen them yet, I've talked up a storm on Lotho Corrupt Shirriff. I like this card a lot. I don't think it's the best thing in the world, but I think in the CZ, getting treasures out early, this could be very, very effective. Do we manipulate the treasures for other things? Do we use them as utilities for sack outlets? Like, we can... If we weren't on Lurrus, we could do like a KCI thing and we would just have the artifacts, obviously, right? And then we can sort of play for a... I was mentioning Yawgmoth's Will earlier. We could play for Ether Flux Reservoir, right? So I would say maybe that's something you could do outside of this build. With Lurrus, we are limited in the sense that... I'm going to assume we all know what this does because we've talked about it on the channel. We've been talking about it this whole time. But with Lurrus, it changes the math for the deck. So each permanent card in your starting deck has converted mana cost 2 or less. So just our permanents, our instants and sorceries obviously can be outside of that range, but that does hamper us a little bit. However, its effectiveness with those cards is very good because during each of your turns, you may cast 1 permanent spell with converted mana cost of 2 or less from your graveyard. So what's interesting to note about Lurrus in the companion zone for Lotho is the fact that Lotho cares about casting 2 spells a turn. So Lurrus should theoretically help us get there, right? What's nice is like the thing isn't, you know, exiled at end of turn. It's like a real proper recursion spell, except with Companion working the way it does now, having to pay 3, you know, generic to put it into our hand and then cast it for another 3, it does stifle the effectiveness. But then again, Lotho makes treasures, hopefully a bunch. So I think we'll be able to get to Lurrus turns very easily. I feel like Lurrus is going to be a contingency plan, but still very good. And again, should help us like Lotus Petal, break the Lotus Petal. I'll play the Lotus Petal from my graveyard. Oh, there's a treasure. Lotus Petal, treasure. I just made 3 mana, right? You can see the effectiveness of the card, right? And that's just one scenario. There could be a ton of things we do with this, but it gives us the trigger for ourselves, and also it'll give us the trigger for our opponents. The only thing that this deck is lacking, sorely, is draw. So what I want to consider is all of the fast mana and means to get Lotho out early, all of the draw, and once we get there, we're going to run all of the interaction suite that we can jam in here for Orzhov to include... I would stop at like maybe Abeyance for the silence effects and Calamity's Wake, the newer one. That's a mass silence. This one that's from Brothers War, right? This one's nice. Exile all graveyards. Be mindful when you do this. Obviously, you can shut yourself off. Just don't do this when your setup's in the graveyard. But players can't cast non-creature spells this turn. So look, if you use a combo that relies on creatures, you'll be fine. For other players, this might affect them, but we're not going to solely rely on creatures for this. We're going to want to set up a loop, right, in our deck. So the other thing we need to discuss is payoffs. What are we going to do to win the game? And to be frank, I've had a couple of thoughts on this, and I keep landing on Lean and Relic Water and Animate Dead and Dance of the Dead. Those are sort of the bread and butter lines for, at least when you're limited to 2 CMC and under for your permanents. That's like the bread and butter line for a deck like this. And then you would use something like a Blood Artist, or you'd use any form of Aristocrat. It doesn't have to be Blood Artist. Maybe there's a Cauldron Familiar thing here that I'm unawares of. It's interesting because it's been a while since I've built Orzhov and within these limitations. So if there are new cards that assist us in finishing the game, excellent. But you could even do something like, and it's one of my favorites, and I've mentioned it a few times off stream, but this is one of my favorite cards. It's the only card that has Gravestorm. It's from Future Sight. It's called Bitter Ordeal. So you get this sweet, sweet border effect from Future Sight. Zoom in. Okay, cool. 2 generic and a black. Search a target player's library for a card and remove it from the game. Then that player shuffles his or her library. So basically, you're exiling their libraries after you've accomplished Gravestorm. So it's whenever you copy it for any time a card is put into a graveyard, a permanent rather. So it's not just your graveyard. So if you had an emergence zone out, we're not on an emergence zone, but if someone else was doing some sort of infinite loop with their graveyard, we can go ahead and exile stuff. But also note that this is really effective. Again, I wish it was just instant speed outright, but this would be really effective for searching for core cards from an Underworld Breach players list. Like when they're setting up their Underworld Breach turn and they need to use their graveyard for utilities and exile things and cast things and put them back in the graveyard, Lion's Eye Diamond and such, what you can do, because it copy it for each permanent put into a graveyard this turn, just look at what they dumped from their Lion's Eye Diamond, right? So basically you could copy this and like target their graveyard. But again, you would need an emergence zone, or you would need that Born Upon a Wind to assist you in this matter, or Quicken or whatever, but you're an Azorius for that. So obviously you get its limitations, but for us, it's just going to be an outlet, right? In a low CMC one, relatively speaking. So this shouldn't hurt the ad nauseum too much. And as soon as we see it, we're like, okay, well, there's one win. I'm sure there's some goofy, like, Children of Corliss thing we can do. If you've seen this card, probably haven't heard this name in a while. I think it's Children of Corliss. Yeah. Sacrifice Children of Corliss. You gain life equal to the life you've lost this turn. So you can do an Angel's Grace ad nauseum, or you can do a Children of Corliss. ad nauseum. And what you could do is just effectively go through your list this way. So you would need a Yawgmoth's Will to do the ad nauseum from there. But bearing in mind, Yawgmoth's Will would hamper this. But that's an effective way of storming through a turn, as if you saw the Yawg's Will, you would get the ad nauseum from your graveyard again after playing a bunch of fast mana. Like you play your Lake of the Dead and you play your Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, whatever. And then you would go for the Yawg Will to try to storm through a turn. But I feel like this used to be part of a strategy of a different deck. I believe even Zur was on it for a while, but it's not like the best thing in the world to do. It was just very good after an ad nauseum. Nowadays, decks are trim enough and lean enough to where they can find their combos much easier, but those are decks of different colors. Orzhov is still somewhat limited in its range. So I hope I'm saying some things that are helpful. Someone said Angel's Grace in the comments. So yes, Angel's Grace, Ad Naus, Sickening Dreams. As additional cost to cast this spell, discard X card. Sickening Dreams does X damage to each creature and each player. So the important aspect of this is Angel's Grace. You can't die to this, right? But everyone else will. So this will be a thing to do. You might not always have those two cards in hand, right? So you might just have to dig for the Angel's Grace after the fact and cast it, but you can't lose the game this turn. Your opponents can't win the game this turn. Till end of turn, damage would reduce your life to less than 1, reduces it to 1 instead. So effects like Ad Nauseum don't hurt you. So you can basically Ad Naus. It's always been a 2-card combo. It's often not seen these days, but it's still a thing. Angel's Grace and Ad Nauseum is still a very relevant thing you can do. We might put Angel's Grace into this just because it's there, but also it shuts off Thassa's Oracle still. Like, that is a very relevant thing it does. I will end this poll that we've had going though. Let me see if I can catch up with the chat. Okay. Wheeling in black makes me think of payoffs like Waste Not. Yeah. A lot of extended foils are super rare by mistake. Ooh. I was hearing that, by the way. So I got a full art extended foil Lotho. Now I got to build this. Remember, these only commander sample packs. These only come in the commander sample packs. So that was a mess up. I was hearing about this, and it might have been from you, Evine, but yeah, apparently the extended foils are going to be very expensive from the set, which sucks. I mean, that really sucks. So if you were looking to get anything, even if it wasn't something that's like particularly good for a majority of, variety of formats, good luck getting them extended foil. I'm gonna settle on whatever I can find for the One Ring personally. Trying Bowmaster's Waste Not sounds so fun. So I know you wanted to run Leon and Relic Water combo, so why not run Hall of Heliod's Generosity? Oh, so far as the land is concerned, Heliod's Generosity. So put target enchantment card from your graveyard on top of your library. So is this to assist us provided we fail, right? We could do Hall of Heliod's Generosity. I don't generally like slotting in generic lands unless they tap for 2, right? Or they have some sort of color fixing attached to them, like Caves of Koilos. But we can put Hall of Heliod's Generosity in the sideboard for now. Just because I don't know if I'm going to slam it quite yet. If you do find you need it, though, I would suggest obviously running it. I'm so happy that we cannot put in Basalt Monolith no mill your deck option without Thoracle. I love the Savine's Wreck short. Savine's Wreck short? Did I do a Savine's Wreck thing? Did I do a Savine? We win with destruction of lands. I decided to go all in on Aristocrat combos. Okay. Yeah, I like Angel's Grace, though. I like Angel's Grace in the main deck. And I also like Ad Nauseam. And I also like Peer into the Abyss. Right, we're going to run all those things. Okay, Sickening Dreams wins me games. If we want to do Sickening Dreams, we can, right? So, again, what's nice about this particular card, especially after a Peer into the Abyss, is that you're messing people up. The thing is, if they counter this, obviously you're screwed. So be mindful to, get that one silence effect off, or get the thing off that you need to get off to proceed. But make sure you do that. So we're going to do silence. I'll do Sickening Dreams, sure. I still like Bitter Ordeal. I'm going to put it in here, but I don't know if it's going to stick. I think Sickening Dreams with a lean in Relic Warder up. Sickening Dreams off an Ad Nauseam Peer into the Abyss is just itself good. Also, I'll say maybe Peer more than Ad Nauseam, to be honest. But we'll see when we see. I do want to do lean in Relic Warder. Right? Lean in Relic Warder. And Animate Dead. And Dance of the Dead. We can't do the last one of that trifecta because it is 3 CMC. I run Children of Korra list to do a Sickening Dreams turn. Is it required, or would you say, oh. Is this if you don't have Angel's Grace? Like if you don't pull Angel's Grace, is this like your redundancy at the one CMC slot? Is that the idea? That's not a horrible idea, actually, at all. It's so weird, you know, we talk about power creep and we talk about the effectiveness of lists like getting better and better, but when you really look at it, like 1 to 2 colored lists haven't changed that much unless they've been in the, you know, select few colors to receive those sweet combo cards like red with Underworld Breach, like blue with Thassa's Oracle. And then utilities from the olden days like Demonic Consultation see Rejuvenated Life. It's so weird that happens, but white as a colorway, green as a colorway, you know, they haven't seen many really game-breaking spells, like in that sense. In the sense that decks will shift to all being built around those effects. They just haven't. So Children of Korra just feels weird to have to include. I will keep it on the sideboard for now, but I understand where you're coming from with that. I developed an Orzhov Doomsday pile that wins with Bitter Ordeal after looping LED and Conjurer's Bauble with Second Sunrise. What? Wow, this seems awesome to me. Oh, I should have stipulated from the start. I mean, it's kind of tacitly understood, but if you're jumping in now, this is just a blueprint for what a Lotho and Lurrus list can be, and I highly encourage you, if you enjoy this list, to take it and do with it what you will. Like, build it out however you want, but this should just be a blueprint for you, what we collectively build together. And again, thanks for joining me on this live stream. I'm very excited to build this one. If you enjoy this to help boost the support of this video, please do leave it a like and share with anyone, your grandma, your Discord. It does help a lot. The last video I just put up on the channel has really exploded, and I can't state why or how, but there's a lot of that happening. So thank you so much. All right. Ooh, did someone just say Meat Hook Massacre? I want to read Second Sunrise first. For a white, 2 white, and a generic, I really like Meat Hook Massacre. So yeah, we're going to put Meat Hook Massacre in here. Each player returns to play all artifacts, creatures, enchantments, and lands that were put into his or her graveyard from play this turn. So Ant, I'm curious as to how this works. I've cut Blood Artists and similar cards for my Orzhov deck and only run Meat Hook Massacre and Altar of Dementia as outlets for Leonin and Animate Dead. An Altar of Dementia would run into Savine's Reclamation, and then you would play into... Hold up. Okay. I'm into everything you're saying, and Rondon. Even Adnos into Angel's Grace and Yogg's Will. Yeah, exactly. Thanks. The short was about Savine's Wreck missing from the deck, and yes, thank you. That's why I didn't remember. It wasn't in the deck. But yes, I remember. I'm glad you like that one. I'm glad those mockumentary shorts are doing well. They have a much longer shelf life than like the topical stuff that I typically produce in mass for these set releases, but you know, you kind of have to. I love the idea though of Altar of Dementia, but Altar is exactly 2, right? Isn't it 2 generic? Altar. Oh, no, I'm spelling it right. Of Dementia. Thank you. Yeah, I love this idea. Okay, so I've not successfully pulled off a Doomsday pile in any list I've ever built, but I love the idea. So developed an Orzhov Doomsday list that wins with Bitter Ordeal after looping LED and Conjurer's Bauble. Conjurer's Bauble is an oddity if you've never seen this. Is this after you've milled yourself though? Is that the idea? you'd Savine's wreck those two things. Put up to one target card from your graveyard onto the bottom of your library. Draw a card. And then second Sunrise. Each player returns to play all artifact, creature, enchantments, and lands that are put his or her graveyard from play this turn. I'm going to throw all of these things in here because this cocktail sounds really fun, and I'm going to work it out as we go along. If you want to tell me the line, though, please let me know. I've got a Lion's Eye Diamond just doing nothing, so let's put it in. It just sits over there in a box. It's so upsetting. It's the only reserve list card that I don't actively use that I did not sell because I remember spending way too much for it. And it's only gone up, so lucky me. But I don't own my Yawgmoth's Will anymore, so that got sold. I just haven't touched that thing in ages. As soon as Underworld Breach came out, it was like... I remember when that card came out, Underworld Breach, people were like, yeah, Yawgmoth's Will is still gonna be playable. Yeah, keep Yawgmoth's Will. And people just kept slamming Yawgmoth's Will. And then they're like, oh yeah, exiling the things that go in the graveyard outside of doing the escape thing with Underworld Breach is just dumb. And then they've immediately nixed Yawgmoth's Will like a month later. But I remember how people tried to hold on to that. And same thing with like Labman. Labman still makes sense in some decks, sure, and I still see it. But I remember people were holding on to Labman and Lab Jace for a long time after Thassa's Oracle. But the truth is, power creep. The truth is, you just don't need it anymore. Okay, so we've added our win cons. I think we should just take a step back and look at what we have. So Angel's Grace ad nauseum, very obvious. Second Sunrise, I think I understand what's going on here. So Second Sunrise with Conjurer's Bauble, Lion's Eye Diamond. So I didn't put it in, and I'm sorry about that, but what Conjurer's Bauble does is you sacrifice it, and then you put a card from your graveyard at the bottom of your library. It's something that we actually use in Oswald, and the beauty of it is you'll also draw a card at cantrips at the end of it. So the idea being you would use Conjurer's Bauble to retrieve the Second Sunrise all in one fell swoop, right? So again, you would need to self-mill Savine's Wreck, LED, Conjurer's Bauble, Second Sunrise off of the white mana you've produced with Lion's Eye Diamond. Make sure you order that correctly. And then you'll get everything back, which is kind of insane, right? But Second Sunrise needs to pull it that was put into his graveyard from play this turn. So it won't retrieve everything, but it will retrieve the things that are important, right? That's really, really cool. I absolutely love this combo, and I've never done it before. I would be curious to hear how Doomsday works in the same line of play. I think you would just remove everything except for the combo cards. I'll put Doomsday in just because Alex, if you're watching this, gave me a hand-painted Doomsday from his... I think it was in his Xur list for a long time, and he just didn't actively use it. And he's like, he remembered I was trying to build around Doomsday unsuccessfully. And he gave me a hand-painted Doomsday that's really, really gorgeous, and I've just never played with it. So again, all of the reasons for building out Lotho Lurrus are stacking up. Let's do it. I guess we can also incorporate grinding station lines, right? But are there any good grinding station lines for this deck? Hold up. Because it's not like we have Underworld Breach, so we don't have that going for us. So the other self-mill strategies revolve around Basalt Monolith, as someone mentioned, and Mesmeric Orb. Obviously, this kooky, Altar of Dementia, Animate Dead, Lean and Relic Order line, which I really like. It's a classic, and it fits perfectly here. But Grinding Station is another one of those 2 CMC things that could potentially work. I just don't have the line of play in mind. So again, this is why we do these live. It's been a long time. The last list I built in Orzhov was... what's his name? It started with a K. That's probably not true. I probably built something else with you guys in Orzhov. Like an Arden and Tavesh. Kamal. I think I built a guy named Kamal. He's like a Stacksmander. It was quite good, though. I'm never going to remember. All right. So there's so much I need to catch up with. I'm going to try to do that really quickly right now. Ellis Ilkor, also yes for Children of Corliss. It's on the side again for now, but we could definitely include it in the main if we find we need the redundancy. I think Lean and Relic Warder is actually worse than Sickening Dreams line. I think it would be good to have, with any deck, you should have at least 2 outs. So we'll keep it for now. I feel like we have multiples because we have Doomsday. We have the Reanimate line of play, which can work off of any sort of Entomb setup. So we can do Entomb and we can do Unmarked Grave. Let's go ahead and add Savine's Reclamation now. And I'm just going to add all of our tutors, Demonic Tutor, just to get all the basic stuff out of the way. Vampiric Tutor, Imperial Seal, right? These are all good cards. Wishclaw Talisman, Wishclaw Tally. And we want to do, what's the other one? I always forget the one where you have to sacrifice a creature. It is called, don't tell me, Diabolic Intent, not Tutor. Diabolic Intent. We're going to use Enlightened. Cumball. Jeez Louise. That's the last one I remember actively like making and having in person. And Cumball was so fun. So fun. I remember Mikey was on Gitrog. What was it? There was one game where I like stole it with Cumball. I wound up using a Praetor's Grass to steal. I wasn't a jerk. I didn't steal his Dekmar Salvage. I wound up stealing his Ad Nauseam from that list, if I'm not mistaken, and then I just popped up on my turn. It was so funny. Yeah, whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell that player loses 2 life, you gain 2 life. This guy's really good. Like, honestly, still slept on. I think Cumball is still a fine stats mander because people don't realize how damning that effect is, and he just sticks. He's also a blocker for Tymna. I'm gonna move away from this topic now though, because we're not building Cumball. I wish Cumball could use Lurrus. Let's do Meat Hook Massacre. If I didn't already put it in the deck, Mr. Potter. I love the second Sunrise idea. Yeah, it's so sweet. I don't think I put Conjurer's Bubble. Conjurer's Bubble is like just really good recursion. It is one of those slept on cards. It is so good. And obviously it's amazing in Oswald because you just want the recursion for a combo piece that was removed. And you're like, okay, well, I'll tutor up Conjurer's Bubble, put it right back in my deck, untap, get him back. Boop, put the thing in. And it's also replacing itself. So it's like you never really, it's like a win-win situation, Conjurer's Bauble. I think I got the 1 printing too. Yeah, so for 40 cents, pretty damn good card. Okay, just getting here. Have we discussed WinCon, Cody? We are going over so many. Sickening Dreams is a meme WinCon. I find myself killing myself with it. And Sickening Dreams, I can see that way. That's the issue with it. Like, it almost feels like it needs the Angel's Grace or the Children of Corliss. That's why it feels like a meme. I might take that out as opposed to... I might take that out over the loops with Lean and Relic Warder and then Bitter Ordeal, and or... We'll get there when we get there, but I think that... I mean, you could just storm and use the Tendrils of Agony if you really want to. I hate putting in cards like that. Or an Aristocrat is fine, but I like Bitter Ordeal and potentially Sickening Dreams. Potentially. I think that we should maybe put Tendrils of Agony on the side. It's just the same thing. It's just a win that's there. And I think Tendrils of Agony is 3 or 4. Oof. It's 4, right? Yeah, there it is. All right. We can also do the baubles. We could do the baubles. That sounds like a ton of fun, Julian. Julian says, many years ago, I used to play Second Sunrise and Eggs and Legacy. Sorry. And just had to hope you didn't whiff the storm. Oh. Here's a cute combo. Blood Chief Ascension, Mind Crank. Probably needs too much to set up, though. Blood Chief Ascension is one of the ones that requires the tokens to do the thing. Let me look at it really quick. I said Blood Chief. That's not going to find it. Okay. Okay. Whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, if Blood Chief Ascension has 3 or more counters on it. At the beginning of each end step, an opponent... Yes, it's a little too slow. We would want to win on the spot. Foils Conjurer Bobble Gang, Daniel White. I'm already on it. All over it. LED also lets you put Lurrus back to hand, worst case scenario. LED also lets you put Lurrus to hand, worst case scenario. You can put it to hand with Lurrus, right? Is that what you, oh, you mean to just pay the companion cost. I sold Lion's Eye to help put my kids through nursery. Julian, I think that's why we all hold on to our reserve list cards. Not a dad yet, getting married later this year, but they're all assets. It's so weird. Like, my fiance is like, where do you get this money from? It's like, well, hun, the stuff I've been buying for years. Very fortunately, I remember my Judge promo Imperial Seal. Like, I sold it for $450, something like that. It's still up there, but this was before the reprint. And then after, it was like a set or two later, the reprint came, and it was like, I just wasn't playing Black at the time, and I didn't need the Imperial Seal. I'm like, I just felt weird having all this money in it. But then I remember the prices dropped, and oh, I felt bad. Also, same thing with Grim Tutor. I had Grim Tutor, just like the weird starter deck, white bordered guy beating a child with a scroll, like that one. That also sold well. How about Anafenza, Sack Outlet, Lesser Mastercore, and an Aristocrat? Oh, we could do hold on. We could do a Metallic Mimic, Lesser Masticore. So if you haven't seen this line, they're both 2 CMC, which is the beauty of this. It would fit into this deck. So Lesser Masticore, the only thing that's relevant here is Persist, right? So when it dies, it comes back with a -1/-1 counter. Well, guess what? Metallic Mimic enters as also a Masticore. And what you would do is have it come in with a -1/-1, but then a +1/+1. And we all know the rules. One negates the other of those particular counters. So it doesn't have any when you grinding station again. So technically we could set up our own self-mill line with that as well. All of the good kill sacrifice outlets are too costly or not in these colors. Like Goblin Bombardment would work, but sadly we're not in, oh my gosh, Mardu. But we could do Metallic Mimic instead, and that sort of reduces the card count a bit. Why don't I just put that in for now, just as a redundancy? Metallic Mimic. And what I like about this is that the enlightened tutors of the world can also find them if I needed to do that very desperately. Very doubtful. But we do have that with Grinding Station. And I do like Grinding Station with the artifact generation. I know it's weird to suggest that we would break a treasure with Grinding Station, but there might be something there. I'll think about it. But I'll put those in for now as another self-mill strategy. That's 2 CMC and under. I think that's fair. So we'd add Nas, we'd self-mill, and then we would pull into a win. If Lurrus was already out, we could play like LED from our... I'll think about it. Yawgmoth's Will is still insane. It's just not easy to play right. Yeah, a lot of mono black lists. I remember cEDH would play Yawgmoth's Will. cEDH Adnos, right? And it was fine. It does fail though. Its success rate was kind of Do you do second sunrise loop you mentioned, and to finish it, crack LED for black and then return Bitter Ordeal instead of second sunrise, cast Bitter Ordeal for infinite Gravestorm? This sounds awesome. Can't do Cabal, 2 CMC or less. And thank you, Abby. Yeah, I was just bringing up Cabal because it was a deck I played before. It's probably one of the last Orzhov decks I've played. Damn, I'm late. Josh Holmes, you've missed everything. The deck is done already. So sorry. I don't know how you're planning to crack the pile, though. I run this in a Lurrus deck that runs a lot of eggs. Crack the Doomsday pile? Right. So let's talk about Doomsday really quick and the potential of actually running it. So the fact of the matter is we have... Is there a Dread Return thing we can do? Less important. We have 2 ways to self-mill through our deck. We've got... And they're very up there. So the first thing we're going to do is find Ad Nauseam. And then we're going to play for either Animate Dead, Altar of Dementia, Animate Dead, self-mill, or Lesser Mastercore Metallic Mimic Grinding Station, self-mill. In both instances, we're dumping our deck into our grave. We've also Ad Nauseam. So we've got half our deck here, half our deck there. We have Savine's Reclamation in our graveyard or in our hand. Either one should be fine. The idea being we will pull back the combo from there. So I would do Savine's Reclamation for LED, Conjurer's Bauble, and then start up the line that way. So we don't necessarily need Doomsday for this. I get what you're saying, though. Do Second Sunrise Loop you mentioned, and well, Doomsday is just a way to assemble the cards, erase your deck. So I don't know if we necessarily need Doomsday, but I want to keep it for now in case we want to build in a line like you're suggesting, though, to crack it. We don't really have a great way in this list. There's not that much draw on demand here, so I don't know. Sorry, just make sure my cat's alive. I was like hearing a faint yowl, and I'm just making sure he didn't get anything he shouldn't have gotten into. Okay. He scares me. My boy cat scares me so much. I can't imagine what it's like to have kids, but just my cats scare me. Soul Echo is good in this deck. Soul Echo, get out of here. What are you talking? Let's see. Actually, I'm curious. Soul Echo. Oh my gosh. Wait. Okay, this is a card. I have not ever seen this. Soul Echo enters battlefield with X echo counters on it. You don't lose the game for having 0 or less life. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Soul Echoes if there are no echo counters on it. Otherwise, target opponent may choose that for each 1 damage that would be dealt to you until your next upkeep, you remove an echo counter from Soul Echo instead. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Soul Echo if there are no echo counters on it. Otherwise, target opponent may choose that for each 1 damage that would be dealt to you until your next your upkeep, you remove an echo counter instead. That's so weird. So you are suggesting we put Soul Echo down and then just go ham? Is it Soul Echo Adnos? Is that the idea? Praetor's Grasp win with the thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so here are the 2 win cons. Okay, that was okay. Someone else say it. Josh Helps, congratulations. Congratulations, Abby. Yes. Okay, so Bitter Ordeal, Praetor's Grasp. Those are the 2 win cons. Gravestorm off of Lesser Masticore or Lean in Relic Order, and if push comes to shove and there's a blue player at the table, just Praetor's Grasp. My only qualm is that if for some reason like they don't have a Praetor's Grasp in their deck, then we've effectively lost our potential for a win unless we had additional mana floating, because we wouldn't be able to Second Sunrise the thing back. Like we would be, I still like it is what I'm saying. I still think it's the way, but those are our 2 win cons. Also stops 1 opponent. Vizier of Remedies would also fill the role of looping Masticore. Yes, it would. I only because we have the Animate Dead, Dance of the Dead line with Lean and Relic Order. I feel like the redundancy is already there, and we have 2 really great enchantments, enchantment auras on the back end, right? I don't know if we need Vizier as well, but I do want to at least take note of that for the audience, because I do think it is a good backup line. Can you see this? But now, if 1 or more -1/-1 counters we put on a creature, that many -1/-1 -1 are put instead. So yes, technically you can do this as well. I like Metallic Mimic for its flexibility and the fact it's an artifact as well, so it's very easy for us to find with some of the white. Well, we're not using that many fine artifact spells, but you get what I'm saying. You were going to put it on the sideboard for now, and you might even want to opt out for Vizier of Remedies instead, and that's totally acceptable. Again, you can do that in your version of the deck, but I like that a lot. I think Masticore Station is better than Animate Warder, but not gonna lie, I like the Doomsday line. Right, we just need to think about how we crack the Doomsday pile to get the ball rolling, because the Doomsday pile would, well, okay, so let's talk Doomsday. Let's talk Doomsday. So search your library and graveyard for 5 cards and exile the rest. It has to be 5. It can't be up to 5. Put the chosen cards on top of your library in any order. You lose half your life rounded up. All right, so give me your dream Doomsday pile. Give me your dream Doomsday pile for this deck. and I am going to just try to go over the comments now. This one's been generating a lot of commentary, so I can see that there's a lot of interest in this particular deck. I also think that with Meat Hook Massacre out, guys, remember it's just free removal in a lot of instances. Meat Hook Massacre is going to be our one aristocrat line of play. So we technically have a Gravestorm line, a Praetor's Grass Thassa's line, and then we also have the Meat Hook Massacre. So we've got a lot of ways to win. So I'm not really worried about that anymore. How is the Oracle text still so weird and wordy on that card? I don't know. Soul Echo Adnos, Sickening Dreams. Is Sickening Dreams still mainline? I love this strategy. I want to say though that I think it's sidelined for the 3 I've illustrated just now, but I do like it. I don't hate it. So I want to put Soul Echo with Children of Corliss off to the side here so that people know that it's another line of play that they can go for within this. Like, we're not that confined. Intervention Pact 2, if you haven't added it already. Intervention Pack? The next time a source of your choice would deal damage to you this turn, prevent that damage, you gain life equal to the damage prevented this way. Is this off of Sickening Dreams? Another Massacre. Another backup to Massacre is Putrid Goblin. Well, we could put that on the sideline as well. Oh, as a Persister. Yeah. Actually, we are going to put both of these in. Putrid Goblin. Is it worth running... Is it worth running both Vizier... Okay, there's my question. So, I want to add both of the Persisters. I also am contemplating putting in both of the combo cards for them. Altar of Dementia will work with both. Grinding Station will work with one. Vizier and obviously Metallic Mimic will do the thing with either. And just having the redundancy is probably going to be good for us. Because we don't have... We've got a lot of tutors. We don't have that many tutors. So... maybe still viable. And I don't know if we would do Mausoleum Secrets or not. We can talk about other, like, weirder tutors. Man, I've seen effective crick lists that rely almost on Praetor's Grass as their win con. Yeah, fact. Adnaw's Intervention, Sickening Dreams. When we... Conciser Second Sunrise, combat damage seems quite decent as well. Am I missing something? Is Lotho just a value commander in Orzhov? Is he a combo piece I'm missing? Jeff, Lotho allows for fast Adnaw's and a Pedo. Fact. Lotho is just for value. We're going to put Lotho out early to start ramping, and that's it. Or if we just have a hand that allows for a game-winning play on turn 1, we'll rip that. But it's going to do all the same stuff. Like, we will use... Do we run Bubbling Muck? Until end of turn, whenever a player taps a swamp for mana, it produces an additional black. So we do have Urborg in here for the Lake of Dead, because in certain instances where we pull, like when you're doing the Adnaw's turn, don't play your land, because you might want to play the Ancient Tomb or you might want to play the Lake of Dead in these colors. Bubbling Muck might be effective provided we have a lot of swamps, but we're trying to do the thing quickly, so this is maybe not the best, like... Rain of Filth is the other, like, storm card you see when people do the Adnaw's, but I don't think we're that desperate for mana. We don't have as many rituals as, say, your Rakdos list will, but we still do have all the other stuff. We're going to do a Jeweled Lotus just because it ensures we get the boy out. Lotus Petal. We will do Soul Ring Signet as well. It feels weird adding generic mana, but they are essential for doing the Adnos turn. So up to Grim Monolith is obviously where we have to stop. We're gonna do Mana Crypt as well. Crypta de Mana. Mana Crypt, and we might put in like Fellowar Stone or the Signet, right? What is the talisman for Orzhov? It's like Dominance or something? Conviction? Where am I? Where am I? Where am I? We might add the talisman. Am I just not seeing it? Am I crazy? No, it's right there. Hierarchy. We'll do Talisman of Hierarchy. For now. I don't know if these things will ultimately stick. Orzhov Signet. And I'll put Fellwar Stone again for now. Am I missing any of the... Yeah, I am. Mox Amber fits into this list. Mox Diamond fits into this list. Chrome Mox fits into this list. And I'll save this and continue so that we can have a full list going for everyone. Okay. Yeah, so I don't see why we would get rid of the Leonin Relic Warder line, because it's important to note that, well, yes, I think that the other lines are efficient and good, and that they work with both Ashnod Altar and Grinding Station, unlike Leonin Relic Warder. Leonin Relic Warder is still a utility for removing stacks that our opponents might have, and Animate Dead and Dance of the Dead are still utilities for taking any sort of value creatures that might have died, right? Like, maybe there's a Dockside Extortionist in the... I don't know why. It might just be a consequence of someone else's Orcish Bowmaster. Oh my god. I'm putting that in the deck. But you get what I'm saying. Like, those are all still good cards outside of combo, and then they happen to be there for combo. Did I not add Mox Opal? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Mox Opal as well. When you're doing an Adnos thing, you want all the free fast mana you can get. So yes, Mox Opal makes total sense. And we're gonna have the treasures to supplement this spell. Okay, don't worry. Yes, it's worth it. So I think it's time to end this poll on Vizier and Metallic Mimic. I think we're pretty much all in agreement that we want it. So in 3. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna add Vizier to the main deck. I like this. I am not opposed to this whatsoever. This makes sense to me. Okay. Let me read what you guys are chatting about here. Oh, you know what's so cool? What is the new one that when a legendary creature dies, you draw an additional card? That is how you crack it. Is this what you're saying right here? Thank you. Village Rites, Conjurer's Bauble, Lion's Eye Diamond, Second Sunrise, Bitter Ordeal is the Doomsday pile. But also, hold up. We could draw more for the sole fact that we can draw more. There's a new black one that does it too. We're gonna put Dark Confidant, Call of the Ring. What were the other draw utilities you guys mentioned? Someone mentioned something that was quite good draw. Esper Sentinel. But there's a new utility that does what Village Rites does as well, but a little bit better. It just draws 3. I don't know if that's better or worse for Doomsday, if I'm being frank. I think it's probably better. Nasty End. Draw 2 cards. If the sacrificed creature was a legendary, draw 3 cards instead. So what's really cool about this is that when we have Lurrus out, which is what we want to do, we can use Nasty End in Village Rites and effects like this. Like, once Lurrus is down, obviously, we can sacrifice Lotho, put him in the graveyard, cast him for turn, and we have a fresh Lotho for the have you played more than one card this turn and make another treasure. So technically, Lotho Lurrus in that sense is also really good. It's like any additional cost, sacrifice a thing, like Culling the Weak, right? Sacrifice we're not going to run, but Culling the Weak for sure we're going to run. Nasty End, for sure we're going to run. That sounds really good to me. If, again, like, Nasty End might just be something we ditch to Chrome Mox, but I still think it's good to just recast Lotho and get a fresh Lotho. And I'm not ignoring your commentary. I notice you'll likely have 3 artifacts early, says Josh. Probably. What's the argument for running Vizier and Mimic? It seems really silly to me. Rip 1 without the combo, and it's literally a dead card. You'll likely get both or 1 plus a tutor off ad nauseam, especially if you run stuff like Ornithopter or Sacking, Manifold Key, and Voltaic Key, says Josh. So Manifold Key, Voltaic Key are fine. I don't think they're absolutely necessary. I don't think they're going to be great here unless... I don't think we need that much generic. I think we're going to be okay without them. I do want to state that so far as what Bloodblade is saying, initially I was only going to leave 1 in. I do think the redundancy is going to be important here because we do have a lot of redundancy, and if I find that it's too much, I think I would want to cut one line of play out for the other. We should always have at least 2 play lines that net us a win and at least 2 wins within the deck, right? So the play line that equates to the win and then the outlet. So in this deck, it is the Animate Dead, Lean, and Relic Warder. It is the Lesser Masticore and Metallic Mimic, and or the Vizier and the Putrid Goblin. It's important to note that those require the outlet already on board, right? So it's going to be Altar of Dementia and or our Grinding Station in one of those scenarios, and that self-mills into the solution we've talked about already. Animate Dead and Lean and Relic Warder do the thing already, and we can just cast Bitter Ordeal. So we have Bitter Ordeal in hand, potentially. The other thing is that the Doomsday piles will actually set us up for those wins as well. So, Ant Rondon, let me know if this is overkill, what I'm saying, with the sack and draw effects. Like, I want to have at least 1, maybe 2 at most. And maybe any additional, as an additional cost sacrifice. Like, I could see us doing that just to put Lurrus in hand, casting Lurrus, and then casting Lotho from the graveyard. Legitimately. Like, we could run out stuff and just have our board set up and stacked if we really wanted to. I don't see us running any... I see us running removal. I don't see us running any sort of hate bear or stack situation here, but you guys let me know if there's anything you would want to run, like a Draneth Magistrate. You know, is Draneth still worth it in this deck? Probably. Like Orcish Bowmaster certainly is. I know I'm going to be running that. As for Sentinel, Swords to Plowshare. And Josh, I don't disagree with you. Swords to Plowshares. We're going to run Silence, of course. I think I have Silence in here already. Yeah. What is the new white one? Hold up. Yeah. We're going to run Soul Partition for sure. Soul Partition is very good. I think it's kind of underrated. It does a lot in the list that manipulate it, especially if you have a Dockside Extortionist. The most important part about this card is a spell cast by an opponent this way costs 2 more to cast. So what you're doing is exiling an on-land permanent. They're still able to do that thing, but your opponents need to cast it for 2 more. If we use this on our own thing, because we can hit our own thing with this, we don't have to deal with the tax. We just save the thing, essentially. It's like you flicker it and then at cost you can bring it back. In scenarios where you're playing with something like a Dockside Extortionist, it's really good. Yeah. Enough said. Okay. Hope of Jirapur with Lurrus. Hope of Jirapur is a artifact creature legendary that silences one opponent. So technically we could recur it with Lurrus. I want to run our like Orum's Chance, Abeyance. I'm going to put Dam in the list because we need to run some mass removal. And I'm also going to put Toxic Deluge as another form of mass removal. I want to put... Honestly, I really like, I mentioned it off the bat, the Silence from Brothers War. How do I forget the name already? Calamity's Wake. The exiling of graveyards is quite good, particularly when someone's trying to do an Underworld Breach thing. That's really good. I do want to put Imp's Mischief. If there are any redirects you guys can think of, or any other forms of interaction you would want to include, let me know. I will put Path to Exile as well. I did not add this yet. But if there are other silences or effects you want to include, Hope of Jirapur and Lurrus I do like, but I just don't like how slow Hope is. I would almost feel like you should just run Grand Abolisher in that instance, and then just have it active as soon as it enters the battlefield. You know what I mean? So you can entomb it and then bring it back. Entomb, Sacrifice, Drowned Magistrate, Grand Abolisher, and Archivist of Ogma, says Josh. Entomb is in, Sacrifice is not. I'm not high on Sacrifice here, although I understand. Grand Abolisher is fine. I don't hate it. Like, I could see us entombing Grand Abolisher and casting it off Lurrus if we wanted to. But Wernog, Jorna, and Lurrus was my fun list. Oh, wow. I didn't see this card. Which card is that? Oh, do you mean the new as additional cost sacrifice? Yeah, it's legit. That's really good. A Nasty End is going to be very good in Rock Rack and Tevesh. You know, it's just a lot of draw, right? It's quite good. I guess I could have just searched it up, but yeah, I like this one a whole lot. Serra Ascendant make any sense here in this deck with Life and Adnos? Serra Ascendant's fine. Dothy Voidwalker is good. Yeah, I can't deny that. Dothy Voidwalker is good. So what I want to do is just add a Skull Clam. Josh, that's the winner. Not Nasty End, but Deadly Dispute. Deadly Dispute? Nasty End is awesome in this deck. Sick tech. Thank you. Yeah, I agree. But you want to look at Deadly Dispute? Is it from this set or something else? I can just look it up. Deadly Dispute. I like how it took an hour for us to like settle on the win con. As an additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice an artifact or creature, draw 2 cards and create a treasure token. Deadly Dispute. Wow. Sacrifice an artifact or a creature. Sacrifice one of our treasures, get the treasure back, and draw 2 cards. Like that's the low end of Deadly Dispute. That's amazing. Thank you for Deadly Dispute, Dasva. That is a card I want to include. If you're sacrificing Lotho or Lurrus, Kaya's ghost form can get them back and then recast via Lurrus. Yes, so Kaya's ghost form is really sick. If you guys haven't seen this piece of tech, it's an aura. Enchanted creature or planeswalker you control. When enchanted permanent dies or is put into exile, important, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. I like Kaya's ghost form a lot. That's actually really dope. And it's also cost saving. So I definitely can agree with Kaya's ghost form. I do think it's interesting tech. I don't know how many people are going to try to remove. I would honestly put it on Lurrus more than anything. Keeping Lurrus alive is far more important. If Lurrus is out, I would Kaya's ghost form Lurrus, and then I would always be able to bring back whatever, unless they were going to double down on trying to kill it. But the exile is the most important part of that, because that can happen. Let me know if there's any more removal you want to add, though. Please, please, please. Do we run Defense Grid? We'll potentially run Unearth. I don't know if this form of reanimation is important. Unearth. It's only 3 CMC, and I think it's got to be your graveyard. From your graveyard to the battlefield. It also has cycling. Did I put it in already? We're gonna do this. I'm gonna put Unearth on the sideboard. I'm not sure it's something I want to main board quite yet. Imp's Mischief is good. We've got that. Angelic Ascension is a token generator. I don't hate it. It's sort of a plan B. It's good if it's just down. I think you will get swung at, and you will get swung at, and you will lose life for your ad nauseum. So I feel a little bad doing that. We're going with Reprieve. Yes, thank you. We're going to go with Reprieve, Bloodblade. Imp's Mischief is in. I like Imp's Mischief a lot. Mana Tithe is okay. Deadly Dispute should be in many black decks. Ghost Form is fantastic. Was going to recommend, but couldn't remember the name. Thank you. Unearthed also might be ideal. Yeah, Caleb, I'm just slightly iffy on it. Deadly Rollick is good. Thank you. That's the free one that I was trying to remember. I appreciate that. That's another exile effect if you have your commander out. No Angelic Ascension removal. You're thinking of a different card, Pat. Oh. Angelic Ascension is the one generic and a white instant speed. You give them an angel. Is this the one? Or is Angelic Ascension the... No. My qualm with this is that they're going to just peg you. Didn't we get something from Strixhaven that was really cool? Did we not get like a split? Where is it? Vanishing Verse? Exile target monocolored permanent? Not that one. Fracture. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or planeswalker. Okay, so they're both fine. I would exile like a Rhystic Study with the Vanishing Verse. A lot of the commanders you're going to see are multicolored. I don't know. Do you guys like Vanishing Verse in this list? Is Vanishing Verse good removal? Let's go. Just what are the best things you can hit with Vanishing Verse? And what is the least effective thing you can do with Vanishing Verse? I'm curious to know. I would consider it decent for the list. Slaughter Pact I'm okay on. I think we'll have the mana for it, but I would hate for us to go mana deep into Slaughter Pact. It's better losing. I'm not high on Vanishing Verse. Fracture is kind of good. I'd potentially run Ornithopter, Phyrexian Walker to have cheap artifacts, plus our sack outlets. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Let me save and continue. We might be over the 100 cards with this. Skull Clamp is one word, right? Oops. No, we're 2 cards away from a full deck. Verse feels too narrow in my opinion. What are some good instant speed? Let's just look up instant speed Orzhov. Like, what have I missed? I can't believe that we don't have something better. I like Abeyance in the deck. It is in the deck. I like Adnaz in the deck. It's in the deck. Okay. Utter End. Tragic. Okay, Surge of Salvation's fantastic. Should we be looking at protection as well? I kind of feel like we should. You and permanents you control gain hexproof, prevent all damage that would black or red source would deal to creatures you control this turn. That's relevant for Orcish Bowmaster. That's relevant for... Alright, so prevent all damage black and red sources would deal to creatures you control this turn. So this will save us from the Orcish Bowmasters. This will save us from the Fire Covenants. I do like Surge of Salvation a bit, and I like the hexproof aspect because it's not just creatures, it's permanents. I wish the Surge stopped damage to you, but you know, can't have it all, especially at uncommon and for 1 white. D-Spark. D-Spark. Exile target permanent with mana value 4 or greater. I mean, you'll get rid of that Crom for sure. That player's gonna hate you. That's fine. Don't tell me that Generous Gift is still playable. Rite of Oblivion? I'll look that up. I'll go ahead and look that up. Should we run Artifact Aristocrat cards like the black one that drops pings and every artifact dying? Can you, if you remember the name, let me know. I think I know what you're talking about though. And the answer is potentially. Potentially. The White March from Kamigawa. The White March from Kamigawa. I'll look it up. Is there a saw in half thing to do here? Probably not. No. Anguish Unmaking. No, I'm not really loving anything here. Exile target creature. If it was only 2 CMC total, that card would be pretty dope for creature removal. But it is narrow. I do like Fracture quite a bit though. Disciple of the Vault, thank you. Disciple of the Vault is cool because whenever an artifact is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you have that target opponent lose 1 life. You may have target opponent loses. So whenever an artifact is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, so let's just say your opponent casts a Dockside Extortionist, you have this guy out, you punish them. That's quite good. And it's any opponent, right? So in this list, Disciple of the Vault will be used as an outlet with our specifically Lesser Masticore combo. And anytime we crack a treasure, honestly, the Disciple of the Vault just feels like odd value with Lotho. I like it a lot. I like Disciple of the Vault a whole lot. And not even just as an outlet. Like Meat Hook Massacre and this are enough. Meat Hook Massacre is mass removal. We have Toxic Deluge. We have Damn. That's enough. Damn is good because it's versatile. March of something or other. I'll look up the March. March of something or other. Yes, Damn is definitely in the deck. I like Damn, and I think Damn is pretty solid. As additional cost to cast a spell, you may exile any number of white cards from your hand. The spell costs 2 less to cast. Exile target artifact, creature, enchantment with a mana value of X or less. So obviously, with our Ad Naus turn, we can maybe do something with this. Like if we need to remove a bunch of things, that's not so bad. Yeah, and Ganjo too. Ganjo. Seat of the Empire. Sure. What is the other hold up. I'm thinking about improvise. It's an interesting way to manipulate our treasures. Like if for whatever reason we couldn't access our treasures, like there's a collector oof, we could still use them. We could still improvise our treasures, I guess is what I'm saying. We're gonna want to remove the collector oof, obviously. I'm just trying to see if there's anything we could actually use that's improvise and decent. I wish Inspiring Statuary was 2 CMC because I would consider it. It really does help play out our cards. Like we can use some of these and we can just hold on to them and they could be fodder for an initial grinding station line. But I don't think there's anything here. All right. Did I look into Rite of Oblivion? No, Josh, I didn't. As additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a non-land permanent. Exile target non-land permanent. Okay. The only thing I don't like is that it's sorcery speed, but it's not a bad card. Because we're making treasures. Like we're gonna have something to just sacrifice to this and it wouldn't feel bad. I like Rite of Oblivion. I like Rite of Oblivion a lot. Probably more than the Vanishing Verse, which I think I'm gonna end the poll on now. Abby says, this deck is similar to mine in some way. Yeah? Is that good, bad? Takenuma said, Abandon Mire. Mill 3 cards, then return a creature or a planeswalker from your graveyard to your hand. Huh. Takenuma, you say? I don't hate Takenuma. True, sorcery speed, my bad. Honestly, though, it's like, that doesn't make me hate it, though. And honestly, again, it's pretty sweet. Like, early game, this is a really sweet Chrome Mox spell. I don't think it's bad. I wish it had, obviously, the added utility of being instant speed, but that doesn't make this bad. I really think that this is good. Like, I know we value instants obviously clearly higher than sorceries, but for Orzhov, this is really good. Non-land permanent? Come on, we're gonna have the mana for this. I don't mind this at all. Mind Freak, check the deck list in the description. Oh, thank you. But yeah, no, if you want to follow along, the deck list is down there. I think we're over 100 cards at this point. Let me just check. I think Right is mostly fine since it exiles non-land permanent. You'll typically have a grip full of interaction regardless. Yeah. Okay, so we have 103 cards. So we should talk about the redundancies in this deck. Like if we're overboard on our redundancies, I don't know, right? So just to refresh everyone who might be jumping in late, and thanks again for joining the stream. This has been a really popular one. I really appreciate it. I love building decks with you guys, so thanks for joining me on these. I am loving this one so far. I like this one a whole lot. I will state the Doomsday pile. When you play Doomsday on your turn, I know Ant mentioned a... Did I not put Doomsday in here? Hold up. It's right there. Sorry. We'll just look at it on the sideboard for now. Because we technically don't need Doomsday. We don't actually need it. But after an ad nauseum Doomsday, we kind of got it. So if you have a way to draw, which we've only added in Nasty End. I don't think, no, that's wrong. We added Deadly Dispute as well. So we have at least 2. That's enough of a redundancy for me to say that's probably adequate. But if we Doomsday, we can set up a pile where we just draw through the Conjurer's Bauble, LED, Second Sunrise, Bitter Ordeal thing. I think that this is still good in the deck. And it might be the redundancy we want instead of potentially manipulating all of the Leonin Relic Warder, Animate Dead, Dance of the Dead, Lesser Mastercore, Metallic Mimic, and Vizier Putrid Imp. Putrid Imp? Putrid Goblin? Putrid Goblin. I like Lesser Mastercore because it has more plays. I don't like the as additional cost discard a card. That does hurt. It doesn't hurt here necessarily because it can bin our Leonin Relic Warder. We can actively play for that. That doesn't hurt. I do think, though, that we might not need all of the redundancy. I might cut one line out. It sounded like we didn't want Leonin Relic Warder over the 2 Persisters because at least the Persisters play with each other, right? And I can understand that completely. And in one instance, Grinding Station does effectively work with a line there. I still think that Leonin Relic Warder is just a good card, and that Animate Dead and Dance of the Dead can exist within the list. Especially because they're just really good with Lurrus. Okay, let's chat for a second though. I want to, before we start cutting, like, I want to piece together, do we want the redundancy? I'm going to put a poll up and then whatever you guys say. So do we keep Leonin Relic Warder, LRW plus Animate Aura line? We're going to keep the auras. But let me talk with you guys. I think Right is mostly fine because, and we're referring to the Rite of Oblivion. I think Right is pretty good. I think Right is really good. Thank you for that suggestion, by the way. Blind Obedience is an interesting choice as well as like a potential... well, this is doing something a little different. But Extort, in a lot of cases, this can be your outlet and then it's also stacks. But I don't think we need Blind Obedience. Although noted, you could definitely add it to your sidebar, your side deck. You're not gonna have one, but you know what I mean. Leonin Relic Warder as a sorcery speed creature removal. Right, it's just there for that. It's not bad by itself by any means. It is artifact and enchantment, but it's good for that, and it hits a lot of things. Thank you for the deck tech streams, Pat. I love the community building experience. Thank you, Bloodblade. I enjoy these a lot. It's always fun again talking with you guys and building this list. I feel like these decks are always better with your help, genuinely. And I could sit and boil over these for hours, but I'll always, and nowadays I just toss this stuff to Will. Will is very savvy when it comes to seeing the play lines with immediacy. Like he spots the things I don't initially spot. Like he was the one who encouraged me to put the One Ring in Oswald, and it helped so it's so good. It changed that whole deck composition. But yeah, I love brewing with other people. It just helps me out so much. A Bounty Agent as recurable removal with Lure is slow though. Bounty Agent. Ooh, this is a tough one. It kind of is. Never mind on Bounty Agent. Must be legendary. Shoot. We've got 104 cards, so we do need to make some cuts, and I like a lot of what's in the deck already. Maybe there's some things that can be removed. Like the converting treasures into signets or talismans, it feels kind of wonky, but it's actually quite good. If we're on a grinding station pattern here, it'll help to get the ball rolling on certain things. Although we don't have any like necessarily escape cards in this deck, maybe we can consider some escape utilities or things that just exist and do things from the graveyard. There are a few utilities in that regard, so I wouldn't mind just looking at them really quick. There's a quite good instant speed escape card, if I'm not mistaken. Cling to Dust. Exile a target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature, you gain 3 life, otherwise you draw a card. So what's cool about this is that it's just good for picking away at Underworld Breach decks graveyards. I know it feels weird, but like just using Cling to Dust to remove a demonic tutor is a very strong strategy. And then, it replaces itself, so not bad at all. And it adds to your Lotho count too. So I don't mind Cling to Dust here. Some Grave Hate. I wouldn't necessarily say we need to run much Grave Hate, but picking apart select cards makes sense. Okay. Chromatic Star is good for draw as well, and Prism, and Fear for that matter. We could. Oh, you know what? We do need to cut some lands. We need to cut at least 2 lands. So we might just get there that way. Lean and Relic Waterline is okay because all the cards are good on their own. I do think Doomsday is super strong line here though, and most unique. I agree. Is it Prismatic Lens? We're not on Prismatic Lens. But that's another 2 CMC one. I think that's color fixing. It's color fixing, right? It like taps for a generic or you can filter. I love this. I love Arkham's Astrolabe, but we do need to be on snow lands. But Arkham's Astrolabe is so good. It's so good. Even in Commander, it's good. There's a reason why it's banned in several formats. But it's very good in Oswald. Like surprisingly good. It actually cracks the pile too. If you want to play a card to crack your Doomsday pile, oh my gosh, Arkham's Astrolabe. Wait, do we need color fixing though? Let's be honest. I want to add Arkham's Astrolabe just to be like, okay, I'll play this out and then draw the top of my deck and then start going. We're going to have other things to do that though. It's probably not necessary. Call of the Ring is in. It's just another draw utility. Hey guys, I'm from the Lurrus Discord. I heard you guys were brewing a Lurrus companion deck. Hey Sad Weeb. We are, and we're in the midst of it right now. If you'd like to follow along with where it's at currently, you can go to the description. It should be the top line of text, if not the second line. There should be a link for you there. Seal of Cleansing. I am so sorry. Yeah, so obviously Primordium and Cleansing are pretty high up there, but you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I do think that Seal of Cleansing is probably fantastic for the list. I wish there was like a Kenrith's transformation type of effect for this deck. But what's nice about this is that with Lurrus, you can obviously do it repeatedly. Seal of Doom is obviously out of range for us, but Seal of Cleansing I like a bit. So let me add that while you guys are still mulling over the Lean and Relic Water line, excuse me. I do like Seal of Cleansing a lot though. I think that is perfect tech for this. If there's any other sacrifice permanents to do the things, let me know. I might even look at sacrifice enchantment artifacts. And I'm assuming Sad Weeb would have the tech actually. So yeah, if you're from the Discord, let us know if there's any other utilities that you like to incorporate in your decks that operate off of Lurrus. This is the first Lurrus I'm building, I want to say. And I'm enjoying it. It's actually quite fun. Like the strategy itself is really cool. My deck will change with more playthroughs. Yeah, of course. I have felt Doomsday was okay, but Pile is good. I'm not as high on Doomsday if you can't crack the Pile conveniently, but if you like it enough post ad nos, sure. Yes, totally agree. I'm pushing Lurrus Doomsday line here, says Ant. Are you also on the... Let me be frank, that this list as a self-milled strategy can operate without Doomsday. We don't need Doomsday. But if for whatever reason, when we ad nauseum, we're either looking for the self-mill loop Savines with mana, by way of 3 things so far, or Doomsday to set that up with a draw utility. And it's cheaper to do it with Doomsday, because Savines Wreck is 5 from the grave. So Doomsday might just be cleaner with like a Nasty End or a Deadly Dispute. Have I considered using Thran Vigil? Of course. No, I haven't. We'll look at it though. A Thran Vigil. Soul Guide Lantern. I don't really like Doomsday in this deck as it's built so far at all. As it's been built so far at all. Really, Bloodblade. All right. Just to let you compare. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Happy, thank you. Chromatic Star, Orb over Astrolabe. Get out of town. Astrolabe draws. It just draws. It just comes in and draws. I like our Arkham's Astrolabe a whole lot for the color fixing aspect. I like the fact that it draws buy and buy, and then you can keep it around for color fixing. It's really good in the deck that it's used in. I can't say that it's better than those two here, necessarily. I'm sorry. I was going to look up Thran Vigil, though. Whenever one or more artifact and or creature cards leave your graveyard during your turn, put up... Oh, there's a new one. I've not seen this. I would say that this is better than... Okay, so this is better for a lot of reasons. So this is better because with Lotho, or anything that we're going to recur, right, with Lurrus, it'll come back stronger. Right now, as a 2-1, Lotho kind of just dies to a stiff breeze, so to up that would be really good. Also, mind you, like our Orcish Bowmasters, excuse me, that will be killed. So bringing that back is partially stronger, can only help. Mind you, it's probably going to die due to consequence, right? It'll probably die to the Culling Ritual or whatever, but even still, I do like that quite a bit. Thran Vigil can probably replace the... Thran Vigil can replace the Vizier. It can replace the Vizier here. So we need to cut 6 cards. Like I said, we need to cut some lands as well. I do think that we're going to keep an influx of 29. I kind of want to reduce the land count to... Where's my Gemstone Caverns? Oh, there it is. Glittering Cave of Aglarond. Okay. That scared me. So, and Balin's Tomb is Ancient Tomb. I don't think Lake of the Dead gets there in this deck. And I would rather just rely on the rituals. Plus, I don't own a Lake of the Dead currently, so anything I can cut that I don't own. Which means we need to cut 4 more cards. Again, I think Vizier of Remedies is the weaker of the lot. I know Metallic Mimic has more ways to remove it, but we have more ways to find it as well. We can keep one or the other. They both have their flaws. They're both 2/1s, so... I will state that Metallic Mimic's easier to cast, which is hyper relevant. Like after the ad nauseum, if you haven't played your land, you can drop the Ancient Tomb, use that to put down the Metallic Mimic, where Vizier is going to demand that we use a colored mana source. Bearing in mind, we are making treasures here. I would rather use those colored mana sources for things that are absolutely necessary. I feel like Vizier comes out for the enchantment, though, and that this enchantment is great. Thank you for the suggestion. Sad. We can put Doomsday to a vote as well, because I think we're at that point where we need to start determining which ones we are going to remove. But so far as Lean and Relic Order is concerned, it looks like we want to eliminate that combo from the deck. I will state that it is only one card for us to manipulate to do the thing. So it's not the worst thing in the world, right? And the fact that it does it itself is quite good since we are on Bitter Ordeal. But you all voted, so I'm going to take it out. I'll state though that I'll probably run it in my my paper version if I do wind up making this, and I am kind of enjoying the setup a lot. So now it's just Putrid, Goblin, and Lesser Masticore. Right? Okay. Vizier out, definitely. Reign of Filth, Josh, is something I discussed earlier. What? Pulse at 70 said yes, keep. Oh, I am so sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Blood. I read that wrong. I think just... Oh, I'm sorry, Abby. I don't think YouTube lets you leave links in live commentary, but after this video is done, please leave it in the comments. I don't think... That's not like a choice on my part, or at least I've never seen that, allowing people to leave embed links or hyperlinks. Snuff Out's not bad. I was trying to remember the name of it. Snuff Out's good. I think Snuff Out, it would hurt your ad nauseum, yes. Like both pulling it and casting it, but it's not a bad card necessarily. Yeah, thank you so much. I wanted to keep Lean and Relic Order in if you couldn't tell, so that really helps me. So this does change up the dynamic a little bit. I do think that we need to cut, we just need to cut cards at this point. Reign of Filth, no, I think we voted to keep it. Thank you, Josh. I also agree with Daniel. Vizier is out. Thank you. You want to keep, and you guys want to keep the Thran Vigil. Sure. Okay. So let's go ahead and start looking at our sorceries first. Those are usually the first things we can cut comfortably. We've got Pure and Seedy Abyss. We've got Doomsday, Bitter Ordeal as an outlet, Praetor's Grasp as an outlet. So it's Self-Mill, Praetor's Grasp, Fossa, Self-Mill, Praetor's Grasp, Bitter Ordeal. Let me just state that I don't think Bitter Ordeal... I don't think it's necessary because we have Meat Hook Massacre and we're using Disciple of the Vault as a utility with the treasures we're making. And technically, when we get to self-milling, the self-mill strategy, we could potentially bring back like the Lesser Masticore line instead. We would need a sack outlet though. We only have 2 sack outlets with Altar of Dementia and Grinding Station. Because Lotho, I very much think this deck wants Emergence Zone. Yeah, I understand that. I do understand that. We're not on Emergence Zone, but we could certainly be on Emergence Zone. And I would say maybe take out the Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth. Let me take out the Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, because here it's only helping our opponents. Let me add in Emergence Zone, and then we'll continue to cut cards. I agree, though. I was thinking about Emergence Zone early on, but I just didn't see how it fit initially. But now that I'm seeing the deck composition as it is, it definitely feels like a must include. So yeah, I'm with you there. I like Emergence Zone a lot here. Like the colorless mana is going to be mitigated by the fact that we're making a lot of treasures. I would cut it and run Altar of the Brood instead. Altar of the Brood I don't consider a win con, because there are still decks that this won't affect, particularly if they're running Shuffle Titans or they just have ways to put like stuff from the top of their deck back into their hand. Or if they're playing Underworld Breach, then we just sort of give it to them. If another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent puts the top card of his or her library into their graveyard. I generally try to stick away from mill strategies that can bite me in the ass. Like all it takes is a Noxious Revival, and they're like, okay, I'll Noxious my Thassa back to the deck, and then I'll grab Thassa, and then I'll play Thassa, right? Or they just have Underworld Breach in hand, and still another way to ensure that they don't die. I don't really like Altar of the Brood that much, but if you want to include it, you can. You get more value. I just don't like... I've stopped using Mesmeric Orb lines in in a lot of my decks. Usually it's good self-mill. It used to be good stacks. If you're running things that exile a graveyard simultaneously, then yeah, it's good still. Right, so your Dothy Voidwalker, all that stuff. We have Dothy Voidwalker here, but I'm not going to try to play for this necessarily. It could just bite you in the ass. I see too many Underworld Breaches. I've seen too many Underworld Breaches win to feel comfortable with milling my opponents. Alter the Brood, yeah. I'm not on it, personally. You guys can put it, though. I would suggest putting it in your sideboard, though. In the sideboard of this deck, you can put it in your main board. Would Spawning Pit be worth adding a 2CMC sack outlet? Spawning Pit? You just said sack outlet? Wait, is this the one that put counters on it? Hold up. It's a maybe. Disciple of the Vault is a win con here. It technically is. Disciple of the Vault is technically a win con with Lesser Masticore Metallic Mimic. But also, it's just here's the thing. It's going to clear up. Let me put it this way. We're going to see Orcish Bowmasters. When I crack a treasure, I kill the Orcish Bowmaster. To me, that's really good value. Like, I think Disciple of the Vault here is good as an outlet along with Meat Hook Massacre for that one particular line. But I do think it's good enough. It could probably be removed if you don't want it, but I do like how it works in tandem with Lotho. Again, I wouldn't say it's a crucial piece of tech for the deck, but it is an outlet. Merchant Stone just seems super W when past turn gets 3 mana. Yeah. Forget to double check if Disciple is still in or not, but I feel like it's, unless it's winning it, I wouldn't run it. Yeah, don't mill opponents. Reanimator strategies are big. Disciple of the Vault only hits opponents' life totals. Oh, you're so right. That's why I do these live. That changes my opinion of it. I think when we brought this up, I definitely misread it. No. Disciple of the Vault was really popular in like Protean Hulk lines. I don't like it here anymore. Well, that was easy. We need to remove 2 more cards. I do like it works with Metallic Mimic and Massacre. Yeah, but no. So the lines of play are Metallic Mimic, Lean and Relic Water. It's going to be Persist or Lean and Relic Water with Meat Hook Massacre, right? And an outlet, a sack outlet. Spawning Pit is a sack outlet, but it's like an odd one. I don't really like Spawning Pit here. But we do have Grinding Station for the Artifact one and Altar of Dementia. They're both self-mill. So when we self-mill, we can pull into our Meat Hook Massacre and just play it out for 0 and go ahead and proceed. What we can do, actually, we could stop the Lean and Relic Water line. Stop the Lean and Relic Water line. Recur Meat Hook Massacre with Lurrus. Kill Lean and Relic Water. No, I would want to put... Lean and Relic Water is tricky. Like, it's going to be good. We'll get there when we get there, but... We'll get there when we get there. I want to do a Lean and Relic Water line and see how functionally it works. Disciple is life loss. Thank you, Daniel. Bloodblade, I do like it. That works. Yep, thank you. Alter Dementia is useful at all. Alter Dementia is for game. Yeah, it's good. Is that little dirty goblin combo guy worth running? He's redundant with Masticore, right? I think we agreed to keep the redundancy, though. That's the thing. Call of the Ring is draw. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. We've got 2 board wipes here. A 3 with Damn, excuse me. We've got Demonic Tutor, Diabolic Intent, Rite of Oblivion, which I like, Unmarked Grave, and Imperial Seal. This is going to entomb any one of our combos. And bearing in mind that we can use Lures to bring them back as well. Bitter Ordeal is a win con, Praetor Grass is a win con, and Meat Hook Massacre is a win con. And that's that. We self-mill for Savine's Reclamation, and with the mana we're making, we produce... we'll produce a win with this in much the same way we would with a Doomsday by putting Lion's Eye Diamond and Conjurer's Bauble onto the battlefield. Once you do that, you'll bring back Second Sun, which is instant. What the hell? that's a sick card. You'll bring back Second Sun after sacrificing LED and dumping your hand, and then using Conjurer's Bauble to put Second Sun back into your library after you've milled your whole deck, and then drawing Second Sun, you cast Second Sun with a white, and you loop that. But you loop that for each player returns from the put the graveyard from play this turn. So you'd put those cards to loop your Bitter Ordeal line, which is select target player's line. It's Gravestorm. That's that line of play with Bitter Ordeal. So that's why that's there. So we're keeping all of those. We're gonna remove, and again, we only need to remove so much. I still like Abeyance. I like Calamity's Wake. Players can't cast non-creature spells this turn. Obviously, this is only to stop your opponents from winning and exile their graveyards. It's good for that, but Imp's Mischief is good. Nasty End is good. Deadly Dispute is good. Reprieve is great. Soul Partition is great. Angel's Grace ad nauseum is the thing. Culling the Weak. Dark Ritual, excuse me. Enlightened Tutor and Tomb. Orm's Chant is good. And the kicker on this card is much better than you realize, making it so your opponent's creatures can't attack you this turn. It is really good. It's saved my butt sometimes, gotta say. This new Path to Exile looks awesome. Haven't seen that. I have not seen that. Silence. Surge of Salvation is to protect our combo pieces. I like. Swords of Plowshare and Vampiric Tutor. Okay, those are all good. Animate Dead, Dance the Dead. Yes, we need them. Call of the Ring, Draw. Seal of Cleansing, Recurable Removal. Thran Vigil is good. And Meathook Massacre. Kai's Ghost Form is also really good tech. Ogma, draw. Dark Confident, draw. Dauthi Voidwalker is a great utility. Janeth Magistrate is nice. Grand Abolisher's good. All these things are good. Wow. This is going to be... We put a lot of good cards in here. I don't think we put anything I dislike. I'll take out the Orzhov Signet. I'll leave the Talisman of Hierarchy in the Felwar Stone and the Arcane Signet. I could probably take out the Felwar Stone and call it a day. Probably just do that and call it a day, because the rest of the deck is really tight. Okay. Nadir's Nightblade does the same thing as Disciple of the Vault with treasure tokens. It's just 3 mana. Portable Hull. Wow. That's such a good suggestion. So Portable Hull hits a lot for 2 CMC, right? Exile target non-land permanent opponent controls with mana value 2 or less until Portable Hull leaves the battlefield. What I like about it is that we can recur it with Lurrus as well, but I don't think we need it. On your next upkeep after cast, I can say the same thing for Dark Confidant, and we're going to be powering out Lotho to begin with, so Call of the Ring in my mind is the same thing as running Dark Confidant here, except with more upside. So I do want to run it. At the beginning of your upkeep, the ring tempts you. Yeah, right. So you do need to wait, but it's draw. It's the draw you get when you're not rolling with it in the command zone, and your enchantments aren't mystic or ristic. So I like it quite a bit. I think it's time to test this deck, though. All right. I'm gonna drink this water really quick, though. Not this hand. If this had... No, it's not this. I want to get us to a turn 1 Lotho, and then we can play Pretensies on how the deck will operate. Technically... I mean, obviously we have the 3 artifacts right there and part of our setup. We would not be able to put Lotho out on the same turn, sadly. But I don't hate it. Okay. A Dark Confidant doesn't need to wait 2 turns and attack, though. How do you mean? Let's look at Call of the Ring. I think there's some confusion here. Whenever you choose a creature as your ring bearer, you may pay 2 life if you do draw a card. So the first important fact here is that at any point we can stop paying 2 life to draw a card if it means affecting our ad nauseum. But elsewise, at the beginning of our upkeep, we just target Lotho and say, I'm going to draw a card for that, right? So are you referring to the looting effect off of Call the Ring? So on the second temptation, the first one's evasion. The second one, if I'm not mistaken, is the looting. The third one's if they block you, they sacrifice the creature. The fourth one is that everyone takes 3 damage, I believe, when you do combat damage or attack. I forget. We can look at the reference card for this if it becomes pertinent. But you are drawing every time you choose a creature to be your ring bearer, and on every upkeep you're choosing a ring bearer, whether it's the same creature to become your ring bearer or stay your ring bearer, or you're choosing a new creature. So you're always drawing a card. Yeah, no, it's good. I still like Call of the Ring. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and cast our Confidant. I don't know. I'm trying to... This is stupid. We should be able to turn 1 Lotho very quickly. Where are the hands? Can I just get a hand with a rock? Maybe I need to put the Signet back in. All right, this is insane. I want to do... There you go. I was starting to wonder if there's a Chrome Mox in here, right? Or there's Chrome Mox is right there. Mox Diamond, Mox Amber, Mox Opal, Lotus Petal, Jeweled Lotus, and we put them all in because we just want the turn 1. All right, we're gonna keep this. Jeez Louise. All right, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. I'd rather keep the reprieve. I mean, yes, we can cast Drannith Magistrate next turn. We don't have a tutor, right? So really the value is gonna come from, we probably need this. We've got a Dance of the Dead, that much is true. So we'll do that. We'll do that, we'll do that. We'll do that. Because we put Animate Dead under it. And we'll do that, and we'll do that. Okay, so this does say whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, you lose 1 life and gain a treasure. So the fact of the matter is we've already cast our second spell, which was Lotho. So we can't do Lotus Petal, Lion's Eye Diamond. Now look, you can wait to do this and get burnt when someone puts a Chalice of the Void down for 0, or you can just do it now. Depending on the table, it might make sense to just put the Lotus Petal and Lion's Eye Diamond down now, but we will leverage these 2 to just get the treasure on our next turn. Okay. All right, so let's pretend that we were on the play and this happened first. So everyone's gonna be like, yeah, I'm not gonna stop my game plans or slow play because you just did that. So here, take a treasure. Like, oh, okay, cool treasures. We'll do this, move this over. I'm gonna do something that I would never tell you to do, but I'm gonna put my artifact down with my land base. We'll put that there. Because I assume we're gonna get a lot of treasures. Let's say that minimum we got 2 treasures. Okay. Next turn. Cabal Ritual. Cool. We'll play our second land. I will play Lotus Petal, Lion's Eye Diamond, make a treasure. And I will see, this is where the buck stops. We're going to go ahead and play the Drannith Magistrate. Really want to start with a tutor effect, and we might want to add more tutor effects to the deck. We've got a lot, but this is fine. Okay, so we're here. This is it. We'll swing at someone for 2 damage, and we'll pass. Let's say that we make 2 more treasures off turn. We can use Cabal Ritual and Reprieve off turn to make another treasure. Probably not worth it. The Drannith Magistrate was worth keeping, though. No matter what we could have animated. A Signet and Felwar Stone do help hit Lotho triggers. Yeah, they do. Stay put, Link. Oh. Abby, wait, put it in the comments after. I promise it'll work better that way. In my pod, turn 1 Drannith shuts down everyone, so I would do that. Yeah, it's probably better to just do that. I don't think links are allowed on live stream. Yeah. Playing first Lotho is a big win. I would say, yeah. I would hope so. Yeah. Sarah Ascendant in your list, is that something you would be interested in putting in your deck? It was suggested earlier. I would say that Sarah Ascendant is definitely a good include. And mostly for the life game, if I want to be frank. You should put it in your list if you want to roll with it. I'm okay without it. I don't know what it would slot in for necessarily, but we could certainly incorporate it. I'll put it on the sideboard though. I do think it's a good include here with the trying to go fast and do things. Like if all my turn devolved into with this game, if I pull Sarah Ascendant, at least I'm doing something, like I'm damaging a player that would maybe otherwise win with their own ad nauseum. But we've got a Lurrus potential here. So I think that before I pass, I'm just going to do the thing and put Lurrus into my hand with all my treasures. And then we'll say that one more round goes and we get 2 more treasures. Okay. I forgot to say that or do that, but that's what I want to do. All right. Let's go ahead and... That's good. Okay. Next turn. Man, a confluence. All right. We're doing a whole lot of nothing. We're going to cast Lurrus with Lotus Petal and the 2 treasures. And then we'll cast the Lotus Petal from our graveyard and get a treasure. We're going to attack here. We're going to not attack there because that's a blocker for Tymna. And we're going to pass. This is where we need a tutor desperately. Or any draw utility. Okay, so you could see the issue that we're having. We really want draw. And I am inclined to add as much draw as possible. Because just getting here is not enough. Okay. So we've got all the static draw I think we could incorporate, right? Archivist of Ogma, Call of the Ring, Dark Confidant, Esper Sentinel. But I think that the deck needs more draw utilities. Ascendant could make for an incredible ad nauseum, right? Are you running Wishclaw? Yeah. Now we only need to top deck. I know. I'd add Night's Whisper. Let's see if there's anything better. I'm just trying to check now because it's been a while. But I'll put... only because I don't know where it immediately slots in. I'm going to put the Sarah Ascendant on the side here. But I do want to incorporate some more draw utilities. So let's go ahead and look. I mean, we can look at... I really don't think I'm missing any. I think Archivist of Ogma was the last big one that fits into this end of the color pie. I don't think we're missing any tutors, though. We've got Enlightened Tutor. I mean, honestly, we could incorporate some of the higher costed tutors like Grim Tutor. I think we can add Grim Tutor here because all we're doing is mana generation, so we should profit somehow. And if that means using a suboptimal tutor, then sure. Sure. Village Rites is not in the deck, and I think it could be. Because Village Rites could be sacrifice the Drannith Magistrate, play the Drannith Magistrate from the graveyard. That was 2 spells, create a treasure, right? That feels good. So I still have the benefit of the Drannith Magistrate. I get to draw 2 cards. Sure. Soul Guide. Esper Sentinel is in Snowscape. There are some sacrifice and draw cards we can add, yeah. I recently added Minas Tirith. Oh, yeah. No. Minas Tirith is too good. Minas Tirith is really good. The white land in the cycle of location lands from Lord of the Rings, it's just draw. So yeah, I would suggest you incorporate that as well. We're going to take out Plains for the lack of... I need to look at our curve to see what we take out, but we're going to put in Minas Tirith. Chromatic Star and Orb could fix the colors for Lotho and draw... We might need to run War Room. But look, I'm hoping it doesn't get to that. Deadly Dispute is in, pub. Deadly Dispute is actually in already. So I'm just looking to see if there's any other ones I've missed. But I don't want to go too heavily into these effects. I don't hate Chromatic Star and Chromatic Orb. Damn it. Sphere. I don't hate them for the list. I really like Skull Clamp though. Like Skull Clamp, Lurrus, Lotho is a really good combination. Like that is what we should tutor for. In a real bind, we should always just be shooting for that. But I do think that you could make an excuse maybe for the Night's Whisper. Oh god. No. Let's see if we can do it without this. Just got in here. No worries, Pup Stomp, but that's fine. Corrupted Conviction is another Village Rites. Oh. Did I miss it? Did I miss it? I'll just look it up. Is additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature, draw 2 cards? Yeah, sure. We'll put Corrupted Conviction in here. How did I miss that? Oh, it was 1 CMC. I think that's why. All right, well, we need to remove some cards now. Also from Lord of the Rings, Dawn of a New Age is huge in our deck too. See, what's nice about Dawn of a New Age here is if you go in on Lurrus, which we are, this is the other draw utility that came out from the set that we talked about in the top new singles that we liked here, at least at LGG. This is great. I like this a lot because the life gain is important for us, like legitimately important, but the hope counters, it's not a detriment. Like getting to recast this means you get a trigger on Lotho, but also you're potentially getting 2 counters on this to draw at end step off of your Lurrus and your Lotho. So I think Dawn of a New Age needs to go in, and we're going to take out one of the instant speed draw utilities. We don't need that many. But Dawn of a New Age is a new one. I don't think there are any other new ones though. Please let me know if there are any other new ones that you can think of. Would Dawn of a New Age work here, or is there not enough creatures? No, it doesn't. And Gabe, I wouldn't even say you need enough creatures. Like I'm okay if Dawn of a New Age gets cast into Lotho, draws 1 card and goes away, and just gives me 4 life, because Lurrus the next turn is going to be that much sweeter. And then it comes in with 2 counters. And now there's a timer on everyone. It's like, well, he's making mana for an ad nauseum. He's gaining life for an ad nauseum. It's really sweet tech here. I totally forgot about it though. So thank you for bringing that one up. Sad. So we've got 107 cards here. I am sold on this idea of color fixing with the chromatic and sphere and star. I actually think that's important. I want to craft 1 on Arena. Don't sleep on that. Yeah. The 4 life gain's legit. Yeah, gaining 4 at least makes sense for an ad nauseum dig through 12 deeper. Yeah. Actually, Dawn with Lurrus is actually sick. Yeah, exactly. 4 life per turn in just Lurrus. Like you wouldn't necessarily need the Lotho, but you kind of want both. Okay. All of these things look good. I will state that the grinding station is looking less and less good. I know it's another utility to sack. I'm going to get rid of the grinding station for now. I would rather just draw. And Altar of Dementia works with both of our combos that care. I think we agreed on keeping both, but I gotta say, I want to remove one of these redundant lines now because the deck is too tight. Oh, that's Sarah Ascendant art. What? Why didn't y'all tell me this existed? I would play Sarah Ascendant if I knew there was a sick ass card of it. Hold up. Her faith in Sarah reached new heights. This is so good. I usually make a lot of my deck building decisions based off of the art that's available. So I'll play Sarah Ascendant now. Grinding Station does come with Praetor's Grasp. I know. But we need to get rid of some of these redundancies, I feel. I honestly would rather draw. I would rather draw and find the utilities to get to the ad nauseum than I would have these redundancies and then just try to pull into the win that way with any sort of essential life gain elements just in the list operating and just trying to get there quickly. But I can't really get there quickly if I'm just pulling into, oh, there's my Lesser Masticore. And it's like, well, I really want to pull this thing off of an ad nauseum, right? So I would rather narrow down the amount of redundancies in that regard and just pull into as much draw as possible. Because the draw is going to give us the utilities to protect our spells as well as, you know, make plays that'll win the game. I feel like we kind of have to cut down on remove Mastercore Mimic and just keep Lean and Relic Water and Putrid Goblin. I know that's weird. I don't see what else we cut from the rest of the deck. I mean, Kaya's Ghost Form is maybe something we can get rid of, but it's good protection for the deck. I know we tend to devalue these things, and I am in this very moment, but I feel like it's just a utility that I want to say it's win more. Like, yes, it's protecting us from removal, but then again, you know, I don't think anyone's going to really throw removal into Kaya's Ghost Form. So for us, it's just a nice utility to like say, oh, we can additional cost sacrifice this thing and bring it back. If we are manipulating all of the additional costs, like the corrupted card you brought up, all of those cards, then maybe Kaya's Ghost Form's really good because it is, again, something we can recur with Lurrus and then continue to just keep. And it also does protect us from exiling, not just dying. I don't know. I feel like that's sort of next on the chopping block in my mind. But you can let me know. I do think we need to get rid of some removal, though. If not protection, then some removal, because we just need to hit some of these core cards. Like Doomsday is kind of crucial. And if Doomsday is what we pull into, and all I have, ooh, how do we crack the Doomsday pile? Is there another permanent base solution that we can sacrifice draw a card? Like other... So the chromatic stars are really important. Like all of these cards are really important because we need to sacrifice this to filter, and then we could pull into the Doomsday pile. We need to sacrifice this to filter, and we can pull into the Doomsday pile. I'm just trying to think of things we can recur with Lurrus. Like if we pull into Doomsday, what are all of the permanent base solutions that draw a card that we can reanimate with Lurrus? Right now we have 2 that draw. I think that's it. I kind of want more. Like I'm gonna evaluate those higher now. Actually, now that I'm really thinking about this deck, not that I haven't been thinking about it for the last 2 hours, but now that I'm really thinking about this, I feel like it's probably safer to put our draw into permanent solutions, just because it plays into our Lurrus strategy, and particularly our Doomsday package. Sorry. Putrid can go at this point. Oh yeah, that's the Secret Lair version. Dump Grim Monolith, or did you not include that? I have Grim Monolith in the deck, and I like it still. It feels weird. Okay, so Yo Pat, it had Sarah Ascendant, Llanowar Elves, Winds of Change, Demonic Consultation, and Rapid Hybridization. Oh, I hate when there's like a singular card I want, like the Grand Abolisher, this Grand Abolisher SLD. Like, I love this art. Like, I never really I had a foil version of the other one, and I should have kept it if I'm being honest. I just don't ever play the card, but I like this version a lot, and I'd love to own it because the art's amazing, but I don't need anything else from that Secret Lair. They're very good about putting chaff with the cards you want. Okay. Masticore, because you discard if you cast it. Yeah, I do think Masticore is like the weaker link here. So let me just take that out, and then we'll take out the Grinding Station, which I did, and then we'll take out, did I? Yeah, I did. And then the other solution was Metallic Mimic, right? So it's just Putrid Goblin and Thran Vigil. Putrid Goblin, Thran Vigil, and then Lean and Relic Water and Animate Dead. It feels weird, I know. I would say bring back the redundancies if you need them. But let me look at the other eggs you guys are suggesting. Wait. Why cut Masticore over Putrid? Masticore makes you discard. I'd actually cut Deadly Rollick if you're going to remove removal. Yeah, it's weird to say that, but Deadly Rollick is 4 CMC. and it does hurt our ad nauseum line. Although it is good removal, it's a little bit more narrow, and I would rather we keep Rite of Oblivion, because I feel like we're going to have many games where we just have an influx of treasures and nothing to do, and we're just feeling Dockside Extortion is at that point. I would rather sacrifice a non-land permanent to Rite of Oblivion and at least like just nuke something off the board. And then bearing in mind that this thing has flashback, like Rite of Oblivion is really good tech for this deck, because I think we're just going to have the influx of mana to do the thing, and in a lot of cases just not have anything to do with our treasures. So I do like Rite of Oblivion a lot. Mistress Bauble is not the same turn though. Like we need to, I'm talking about cracking the Doomsday Pile in particular. But someone said Soul Guide Lantern, and Tyler I think is saying it now. I know I keep mentioning it's probably annoying, but Soul Guide Lantern is another Tyler. It's not annoying. Please, it's not spam. Like if I with these live streams, my attention span is already bad, but I will inevitably miss messages, and I like Soul Guide Lantern because it does nuke, right? Does it remove a graveyard or just some cards from a graveyard? I forget, but Soul Guide Lantern is a good one, and it draws. So it enters and it exiles target card from a graveyard, yes. Then exile each opponent's graveyard, yes. What's cool about it though is that you can bring this back with Lurrus on the last effect, which is probably the most important for us. Pay a generic and sacrifice it and tap it to draw a card. So you don't get that mana back, but it is another solution, and I actually do like Soul Guide Lantern as another permanent based solution. We could use something like, sorry, Soul Guide, let me just put that in there. So is Scrabbling Claws? I don't think Scrabbling Claws draws. It's just this. No, it is. Okay, hold up. What's nice is you don't need to tap it. So technically, if there was a reason we tapped this down, we could still use it, right? So if there's a Root Maze, there you go. Pay one, sacrifice Scrabbling Claws, exile a card from a graveyard, draw a card. So this is another solution that nets a draw, and it's also Grave Hate. I don't know how many we need, but I do want some. I do prefer the ones that filter color though. So I definitely agree with the chromatic cards quite a bit. Sorry, I see your cards. Urza's Bauble and Urza's Mission. Urza are, I think, are like on the next upkeep or something. Kind of jank, but Spirited Companion is permanent that draws, but you'd need a sack outlet. Right. As Tyler and Ant said, as SGL, it's one card ETB. SGL, Soul Guide. No, I'm with you guys. Thank you. And I probably missed both of you mentioning them. Each opponent on crack. There you go. Yeah. You can bring it back both effects, and the first only hits your opponent. Right. It's so good though. I do like that for this deck. And look, the competitive meter went up. Apparently, TC tapped out, excuse me, TCG player in the description. There's thinks that the Soul Guide Lantern makes this much better. You choose the player. Smuggler's Copter. We could smuggle. We could smuggle. All right, so we need to cut 4 cards, gang, and then we're going to do this one more go. I do want to test this list and break it because I would really love to own this list if it's good. I'm very much on the Lotho train. Grim Tutor's kind of great here. We're going to have the mana, so it's in. Bitter Ordeal and Praetor's Grasp. Again, two sides to the same coin. They're both outlets for us, but we still have Meathook Massacre as an outlet. Do we just want to say that one of these goes away and that Praetor's Grasp is the better of the two spells? I understand that Bitter Ordeal, what you do is Praetor's Grasp to Thassa's Oracle, but if they don't have it in hand, we'll get there when we get there. I'm going to say that Bitter Ordeal can get removed for now. But that as an outlet, I prefer it. But I think that the cEDH player in me is going to say use Praetor's Grasp, because it's still effectively a tutor. And as was mentioned by Sad, you can use Praetor's Grasp for Underworld Breach if you want to. Right. It's too good to not include, but it can bite you in the ass if you pick the wrong player, right? And you just don't know what's in your opponent's hands unless you're playing Urza's Glasses or there's a telepathy on the board. All right, sorry, distracted. We are still removing some cards, and like I said, we can get rid of some removal or some protection. I like Rite of Oblivion a lot. I think I've stated why. I like Unmarked Grave. I like Unmarked Grave a lot because it functionally works extremely well with Lurrus. And I think the Lurrus tech for it is going to be Dawn of a New Age or Skull Clamp. Like, they're both very good tech for the card. Like, if we're getting beat on, then we want Dawn of a New Age. If we just want draw, we'll get Skull Clamp. Yeah, I like it a whole lot. Okay. Lands, we can cut one more land because we did add one. And I think our curve is... Okay. We don't have that many black cards in the deck. Is that accurate? Wait up. No, card cost is on the outside. Excuse me. We'll get rid of a plains here. And stick with 29 lands. We need to cut 2 cards. Instant speed wise, Second Sun is for the Sevinne's Reclamation line. Right? Once you Sevinne's Rec, Lion's Eye Diamond, and Conjurer's Bauble, it all begins to pay for itself. And then you'll end with Praetor's Grasping, Athos' Oracle for a win. Or, frankly, if you don't see that, then play the Underworld Breach. Because, well, you would need red. So whatever you have on the field, make sure, like, your Mox Opal is still there or whatever. Like, make sure that you can tap for a red. Because you will need that to play an Underworld Breach. Same thing with blue. Thassa's Oracle is tricky, though. Again, we'll get there when we get there. We're making treasures, so we're assuming that we're going to have what we need. I think that we keep all of the draw spells. Like, it felt really crucial there, and again, that was only one example. I think Kai's Ghost Form can get removed, and I still like it. I just don't think it's necessary. And because I'm a filthy boy who doesn't need protection, I'm going to say that Grand Abolisher can get removed, although I will also state that that is a good target for your Unmarked Grave or Entomb, provided you have a win. Like, just Lurrus it back and then Ad Nauseam. But look, just rip the Ad Naus, okay? Round 2. Praetor's Grass Finding Displacer Kitten is a combo with Lurrus too. Yeah, I don't play against many people with Displacer Kitten, but yeah, it's like 3 generic and a blue. I think it's 4 CMC or 5 CMC, one or the other. It'll work. Hopefully you enjoy my list after the stream. Don't get me wrong, I already have 2 Orzhov lists, so I won't build it in real life. That's fair. Daniel White, what are we doing about Doomsday Ordeal? What are we doing with the Doomsday Ordeal? I'll show you. I like the spell bombs here to an extent. Yeah, Ghost Form isn't great, a companion deck without Phyrexian Altar. Yeah, no, I could, yeah. I see what you're saying. Because you can loop Kaya's Ghost Form with Phyrexian Altar by killing Lurrus and then casting it. And then that's another way to lean in Relic Water loop through the deck. I'm sorry. I'm thinking I like Kaya's Ghost Form more than Lean in Relic Water Animate Dead. Can we talk about that really quick? Hold up. Because we only have 1 sack outlet in Ashnod's Altar. So the persist lines of play are going to rely solely on Ashnod's Altar. It's important because we want to self-mill to our solution. Right now we don't have a Bitter Ordeal anymore. So it really is going to amount to... self-milling with that off of either Lean and Relic Water or our persist line. But if we do the thing with Phyrexian Altar, which is too costly for this deck anyways, so never mind. If Lurrus wasn't your companion, because it's, yeah, we don't have a way to kill a thing and make a colored mana outside of Phyrexian Altar, right? No. All right. That's another deck, but I would say that Kai's Ghost Form in Lurrus is really good. Nihil Spellbomb and Viscera is another sack outlet. Nihil Spellbomb, maybe. Anyways, let's go ahead and do some playtesting. So, is this card playable? Is this hand playable? I have not seen this Diabolic Intent. Diabolic Intent works really good here, by the way. I'm just realizing now. We have 2 tutors. I like this hand a lot because it has 2 tutors, but it does not have a way to pilot out Lotho right this instance. So, no tho. Could Phyrexian Tower work as a land? Not repeatable, though. Josh Holmes, you've made a very good suggestion, and I would say that Phyrexian Tower is probably something you want to include. So I'm going to keep this because it does produce a turn 1 Lotho. I sort of just sped through that, but it also has Soul Ring now and a Channel Land, which we're going to keep. We're going to play out the Emergence Zone, I think, next turn, and we'll use the Chromatic Sphere to filter. So let's go ahead and do, again, pretending that we're on play with Lotho. We'll play out Lotho. We do not have a tutor, but we have something that we can recur for draw, and we have something that we can recur for removal. So I feel like we're doing more this game than we certainly were doing last game. Okay. And this is, I think I'm using a fast land as well. Like I have the fast land and I have this one. I would say remove the fast land for the Phyrexian Tower. And as a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and do that for us after this. We just pulled into a Vampiric Tutor. That's amazing. So I think we're going to win this game very quickly now. Let's give ourselves the benefit of the doubt. And I'm going to say that we we created 3 treasures. So let's go Emergence Zone. We're not going to win right now. But what I'm thinking is, if I just hold as much mana as possible and I keep the Emergence Zone up, I could Vamp Tutor. We need the Chromatic Sphere on the battlefield, but if I Vamp Tutor Adnaw's top, Chromatic Sphere Adnaw's hand, filter black, and manipulate treasures, I could Ad Nauseam off turn and still have Emergence Zone up to win on an opponent's turn, is what I'm thinking. So let's see. Again, benefit of the doubt. We're going to get a treasure off of our turn right now because I'm playing Soul Ring into Chromatic Sphere, or one or the other. We need to keep Emergence Zone up though. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove a treasure to do Soul Ring. And I'll remove a treasure to do Chromatic Sphere. Okay, so that was 2 cards. We get to get a treasure. We have 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, filter, 4. So we have 4 mana actively available if we're using Emergence Zone here. And we have 1 Vampiric Tutor. So what we can do is use Culling the Weak to help get us the Ad Nauseam. I feel good with this. Let's go. Exactly, Daniel. And Dan, you suggested the E-Zone, right? I think you did. I mean, I did think of it too, but no, you are definitely the person who put us onto it. Yeah, we're gonna get, let's just say that we get 1 proc off turn, another proc off turn, excuse me. All right, now this player is trying to go for the win, and this is the person directly across from me. So I'll let them do their thing. So I'll be like, no, I don't have anything for this. I mean, I guess I could technically E-Zone the Seal of Cleansing and pop their Underworld Breach. But no. To pull the companion out, it's sorcery speed, right? So we can't do that. We don't need to. But let's go ahead and filter once the counter war begins and before it ends. We'll filter a black here and we'll put the ability on the stack. I think this works. I think this works as a mana ability, excuse me. So we will actually do the Vampiric Tutor first, right? Is that the trick with Chromatic Sphere? This is technically a mana ability, but star is a trigger, right? So we will need to sequence this properly, so ignore that. Let's go ahead and break a treasure like I did, Vampiric Tutor Ad Nauseam. I will now break this, filter black. So this is black, this is generic. And we're going to put Ad Nauseam to hand. That's my second spell this turn minimum. So I get a treasure off myself. And like I said, there was a counter war. So let's just pretend that one person cast 2 things. So we're at that amount of treasure. Okay, so bear that in mind. Now we're going to do generic, black, and we'll just do treasures. 1, 2, 3. Cool. We don't have any means of protecting this, but I don't mind. We've got Concealed Courtyard into Emergence Zone or one of 2 treasures. but we're starting with 3 treasures, and we also have a Culling the Week. So I don't feel bad about this turn at all. If I don't have to get rid of Lotho, I won't get rid of Lotho. But let's go ahead and see what we've got off the top of our list and see if we can win. So, and again, I don't think we lost any life in this equation. So, unless someone attacked us, but... Boop, 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 boop. I'm going to put these in a hand instead. Hopefully you guys can see them, but we've lost 2 life so far. 4, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 16. I really love having Lurrus as a companion. What did I say, 16? Let's go 16. 16 or 14? We'll do 16. Yes, it's a mana ability. Thank you, guys. You lose life off of Lotho's ability. Thank you. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think we've generated 7 treasures. I'm gonna say I just say we did 9. That's probably more than we've actually taken, but just to make this as fair as possible, because I definitely forgot about Lotho's ability. Excuse me. Okay, so we're getting near instant death. If we pull into Peer into the Abyss, we're in a bad spot, but truth be told, we have a tutor in hand. Okay, let me just look at our hand. We have an Entomb, we have an Unmarked Grave, we have Cabal Ritual, we have Dark Ritual, we have, if we just want to add to a Storm count, but that's not necessary for us. We've got fast mana here, we've got fast mana here. We pulled a Diabolic, there you go, Diabolic Intent. This is going to help color fix off the Grim Monolith. We can stop here. I'm curious as to what was on top though. Silence, sure, we'll do Silence too. Yeah, we have a win here. Let me get to it, because that's one part of it, that's one part of it, and then all we need to do is get a sack outlet. I want to do the Doomsday thing though, just because. Oh, technically we have a Lean and Relic Order in our hand as well. Okay. All right, intent for Doomsday. Thank you, Daniel. I think that's what we're gonna do. So first, I mean, technically what we could do, we have the means of entombing one of our creatures, but we have both in our hand. So what we could do is bring Lurrus out with all the mana we're producing. So if we did, we really want Lean and Relic Order in our graveyard. Because if we put Lean and Relic Order on the battlefield, we couldn't really do anything with that. Could we? Where's Lean and Relic Order? I want to put him off to the side here. There he is. Okay. Sorry, we did break this to do all of this. That's gone. We're going to do that with the black. Just Emergent Zone needs to happen to make this happen. So we're going to use a treasure to break Emergent Zone. All right. So we're using a treasure to cast a Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual Graveyard. We have 3 black. We're going to use Mox Opal. We're going to use Jeweled Lotus, and I'll crack the Jeweled Lotus just to fill up our graveyard. We are going to use... I want to do the Doomsday thing. I'm with you there. But I want to just put all this stuff in our graveyard first. It sucks because I really want to use Culling the Week here for mana, and I really want to get us to the threshold for our Cabal Ritual. So I might be sequencing this poorly, so forgive me. Let's see here. This is on enemy's end step, am I right? Or technically we could say enemy's combo, but intent for Doomsday is what I want to do for sure. I don't think we have a draw utility though, right? Did we get a sphere or a... Didn't I say we had a sphere earlier? Where the hell is that thing? Or did I break it already? I broke it already. Doomsday searches your graveyard though, right? No, we need to bring that shit back. Hold up. We need Lurrus. We're running Grim Tutor and Cruel Tutor. Oh, we're not running Cruel Tutor yet. So we've got 3 mana floating. That's all we have floating. This is going to tap for... There's no more treasures. Let's just do that. I want to bring back our... I break you. Okay. Sorry, don't mind me. I put a Grim Monolith down that is effectively on the battlefield now. These are not on the battlefield, ignore me. I'm trying to find the play line that works best. I want to do Cabal Ritual, but we're not at the count to make Cabal Ritual work. Yeah, Doomsday hits graveyard too. Yeah, we need a draw utility in hand though to draw into the Doomsday pile, and we don't have one that works immediately. Right? I'm not seeing one unless someone tries to tutor and we can archive us, but that's not gonna be effective. So without being able to crack the draw pile, we do need to... Oh, Ad Nauseam's in our graveyard. Sheesh. Okay, so we'll use this for a black and we'll tap here. So we've got 2 generic and 5 black. Culling the Weak we're gonna hold on to. I think I'm just gonna put 2 black in on the Putrid Goblin, because I can kill it. I think we Diabolic Intent. Lotho for... And we'll put Lotho in the graveyard. Again, this is a new playline for me, but I think what we want to do is find the Vigil. Right? Right. Cool. So from here, I'll use a black to kill Putrid Goblin. Wait, I need to put Vigil on the battlefield. Ignore me. We're going to use the generic, and we're going to use Concealed Courtyard to put Vigil on the battlefield. We're going to use this to Culling the Weak, the Putrid Goblin. It will come back. We've got another 4 mana from that. Goblin comes back. Okay. You could say we put out Meat Hook. We would want to put out Meat Hook Massacre for the win here. We need a sack outlet. That's all I'm looking for at this point. So with this hand, we can pull into... If I unmarked Grave our sacked outlet and I pulled into Lurrus, that wouldn't really work, would it? Give me 1 second. This is tricky dicky. Save the creature for nasty ending. Silence pre-ritual into Lurrus. Yeah. It would be good if you could play Silence first. Johan, I agree with you. I'm just trying to see if there is a line of play that functionally works here, because we're lacking draw to crack the Doomsday pile, which is what we would need to do to start all of this. So that's why I'm avoiding Doomsday right now. We've not played land for turn because it's not our turn. We could technically just Dawn of a New Age, but honestly, the best thing to do might be to just put the Meat Hook out and then wait for draw. That's no good at all. We can't pull Lurrus because it's not our turn. We might just not have the win here. You can't bring Lurrus to hand, unfortunately. Yeah. I don't think we have the win here. I think we're just going to keep a stacked hand with as much mana as possible. But it was a nice attempt. I think we needed to dig more. You could Takenuma if you have the mana for Savines. And Takenuma is mill 3 cards and return a creature or planeswalker from your graveyard to your hand. Creature or planeswalker from your graveyard to your hand. We don't have a sack outlet threaded onto a creature or planeswalker though. No, you could Takenuma. Are we running Tainted Pacts? We certainly could be. I mean, we just need to make the mana base for it. We have Chromatic Star and Chromatic Sphere in deck. We do, but we don't have a way to get to them right now. Like our Sphere is in the graveyard. So what I would really want to do is, I would have loved to have tutored for Doomsday and then cracked Sphere to break the pile, but we couldn't do that. And because we're doing this off turn, there's no way we can put Lurrus into our hand to put some the sphere back onto the battlefield as our one spell per turn, but I don't think Lurrus works off turn anyways. Like each of your turns, I think it says, so couldn't even do that. So we have one draw if that is enough. Yeah, the return doesn't matter. The mill into Savines is what's important. Oh. So technically what we could do is put Savines Reclamation into our graveyard, right? Shouldn't we include Viserys here? Oh, as a sack outlet? Technically here, Viserys here would work with Meathook Massacre in this line of play. I just put this out so that I could have the setup. But I think what we can do now is technically entomb Savines Reclamation. And then we would unmarked grave. We don't have the mana though. Shoot. I think we squandered our resources because I would want to use Savines Wreck from our graveyard to pull back the win con, which in this instance would be the Ashnod's Altar and then self-milling to a solution, or just Ashnod's Altar opponents, I guess. I would want to Ashnod's Altar with Meathook Massacre out if I'm being frank, but we don't have the mana for that. That's 5 black and 1 Mox Opal. Takenuma could hit draw or a sack outlet plus Savines. I think that's it's only milling 3 though, right? Like, I don't know if that's consistent enough for the cost. I would rather just entomb and unmarked grave, like the exact cards we need. So we can't go full Doomsday line now, but we could entomb combo outlet plus Savines, right? So really, it's just passing with our fly down, which I don't like, but let's just use the mana that we have available to do that. So we'll go ahead and unmarked grave the other end of the solution. So it's going to be an Altar of Dementia. And then we have 2 mana floating. I'm going to put down the Talisman of Hierarchy and hold, right? Okay. So next turn, shuffle. This is in hand. We could say that we need to silence someone, but we don't have to. We can Archivist of Ogma into someone's fetch, but let's just say that we take our turn now. Lotho is definitely gone because it could damage us like to death. But let's go ahead and draw for our next card. Grim Monolith is still tapped. We've got a little bit of mana and a lot to do. So Meathook Massacre is not on the battlefield yet. Let's go ahead and we don't have any more fast mana, so we're kind of screwed here. What I really want to do, maybe we should have, instead of drawing the dam, we should use this for the Enlightened Tutor. Potentially getting a Enlightened Tutor. Potentially getting Mana Vault out. Could we have Savine Reclamation Chromatic Star, then go for Doomsday? I think we probably could have, instead of going for the line of play I did. We might have had the mana requisite to entomb Savine's Diabolic Doomsday. Savine's like really hurts in this situation because we Savines it back out. We would want to do that with like something that's going to give us the mana. So yes, we could have done that, but Savine's is 5 from the graveyard. That's the only hang up here, right? Flash in Archivist, yeah. Let's just say we did because we could. Fine. And we'll tap for a generic to do that. Can we just run it back, Josh? I know. And see if the line would work. If you guys want, it's at that point where we've done so much that I feel like I might not have everything right, but we could try that. Dude. Grand Vigil I tutored for off of the Diabolic Intent, right? 5 mana. Yeah, it's hard to remember the exact board state, etc. I think it's probably better if we just restart. But I think we would have gotten there on our next turn. It's just, that's not adequate to me. That's not good at all. So let's see if we can do it now. This hand starts with Ad Nauseam. What is this? It's kind of sick. We could count how much mana would be needed. Johan, I agree. I think that's probably the best angle of approach. So if you were going to do Doomsday's triple black, Sabine's Wreck was 5 for the chromatic sphere, I think is what we had. So that's 8 total. And then we would need 9 to filter into the draw utility. Right? And the draw utility would have hit a separate draw utility that would have pulled into the rest of the combo, which would have been... Our pile is Village Rites, Lion's Eye Diamond, Conjurer's Bauble. 3 and a black. Johan and Tomb. All right, I'm gonna start up another game. I'm gonna see if we just can't hit it organically, because the last one again was close, but it's a new deck, so of course I wasn't gonna get the line perfectly. But it's like there's a lot of moving components for this line to even work. 9 filter with 3 black and 1 white, or is it 4 black? 3 black and 4 black because we need to cast the next draw spell, I think. Are things like Blood Pet or Basil Thrall worth using to prep for a win turn or to telegraphy? I think because we're making treasures, we're probably fine, but yeah. Enters tapped unless you control a legendary creature. Forgot about that. All right, so I was gonna keep this hand until I read over that card. I don't think that this is a good hand then, for our purposes. Obviously, Imp Seal, Grim Tutor, Lotus Petal. There's plenty to do here. But I just want to get the... Screw it. Oh no, that's so bad. It's only bad because we don't have a great way to turn 2 Lotho. Black, 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 black 1, white 4, 2 Bauble, Village Rites. Is that how much it was? So it's 3, 4, 6... Whew. 6, 11. Bauble would have been free from the Savines, right? And then we would have pulled back something else that was generating mana, hopefully like the Lotus Petal. So it could have helped pay for everything. This is a no. This is a no. This is a no. This is a no. Would it have really been 14? That is rough. We're gonna ditch this to the Mox Diamond and we're gonna do a swamp and I'll play Lotho. Okay. And I didn't draw for turn. Did I 1, 2, 1, 2, 3? No, I drew. Okay. Sorry, yeah, 12. I don't know if we would have requisite mana. I don't think we would have. It's close, but I don't think so. All right, so last round. This is going to be a good one. Turn 1 Lotho, again, giving us the most treasures as possible. We'll say that we pull into 3 treasures. Another missed turn 1 draft. I know. It really does suck, but I mean, it is what it is. We kind of have to. All right, 3 treasures. I just want the treasures. Ooh, I do like the draw too. So this sucks. I mean, yeah, we'll play the Dranith. I just want to Village Rites the Dranith. I don't know. No, let's not be crazy. We'll do a Chromatic Sphere. We'll create a treasure. I almost don't want to break Sphere because I'm looking at Demonic Tutor into Doomsday. Sure. I mean, what's killing me is the fact that I really want to hit land per turn. There's so much more I want to do, but I think the best thing to do is to just crack 2 treasures and Demonic Tutor for Doomsday, and then wait, and just get a clean Doomsday line in here. Is that fair? Like, this is stopping people on turn 2, hopefully, like if they didn't power out their commander or didn't try to attempt an Underworld Breach yet. I see LGG as part of the Shadow Wizard money gang with how much he loves the treasures. Yes, it's true. Sphere is free. Sphere is free. Yeah. Anyone else excited for the new Indiana Jones film? I don't know why that made me think of that. I think 3 to 4 treasures versus turn 1 Draneth is interesting. Oh, stop. Stop, Josh. Don't forget about the lifeline. Thank you. Doomsday will make it less relevant here, but it's still hyper relevant. It's weird because normally when we play test decks, I don't track life because it's less relevant, but every time you do an ad nauseum deck or every time you're playing Lotho, you should definitely track your life. So thank you for keeping in check. If you have self-sacrificing effects like Lotus Petal on the field after casting Doomsday, you can net mana, draw, etc. when casting Second Sunrise. That's a good thought because I am not familiar with doing Doomsday Second Sunrise, but I will be now. So we're gonna make 3 more treasures, lose 3 life off of Lotho, and then we're gonna take our next turn here. Let it die already. That's fair. I want Ki Hei Kwan to play Indy. I don't know if anyone else has made that suggestion. I feel like it's been like a murmur on the internet, but I would love if they brought him back and just had him play Indy or whatever version of Indy he would be. I love that guy. I think he'd be great for it. Okay, so we've got now a potential win. So let's go ahead and cast, I think, do we want to Orms chant someone if we have to? Let's say we Orms chant someone because they're the only player that could potentially stop us, right? So that's 1 spell. Then we'll play 2 for Doomsday. 2 treasures in the swamp for Doomsday. So this is going to generate a treasure. And we're down to 32 life. Okay, so we have 3 treasures, 1 chromatic sphere, and Doomsday. Doomsday is going to search our graveyard. Oh shit, wait. Search your graveyard, search your library and your graveyard for 5 cards and exile the rest. Put the chosen cards on top of your library in any order. You lose life equal to your life rounded up. So we actually have one of the core cards in our hand. That's not an issue, but we have Village Rites in our hand. So really we can put, I guess, anything else on top. I don't know what's traditional with Doomsday, but instead of doing that, I'm going to just put those cards into my library and this will be considered the exile, right? Yeah. But let's go ahead and tutor up our pile. So the pile would be Lion's Eye Diamond. It needs to be 5 cards precisely. So Lion's Eye Diamond, oh, thank you, Captain Caveman, for subscribing. Weren't you already subscribed? Josh Holmes, Spider-Man and Elementals were both phenomenal animated. I haven't seen Elementals. I felt like it was too on the nose from all the marketing, like Water, Fire, no. I get that. But hearing it's good was great. I've never been blue balled harder than Spider-Man though. That aggravated me, that ending. It was good, but that ending aggravated me so much. Sorry, Conjurer's Bauble. Conjurer's Bauble. And I'm just going to line them up on the battlefield because this is how we should do it, I guess. We'll put Deadly Dispute, or would it just help to have like a mana generating source, like a mana crypt? Maybe? Sure. And then we want to do Second Sunrise. And the win con is going to be, so for this line, we don't have Bitter Ordeal anymore. So technically Praetor's Grasp for like a Thassa's Oracle is the win, right? But we don't have blue mana. We only have 2 treasures. Okay. Yeah, the cliffhanger was irritating for sure. I love the movie elsewise. It was animated brilliantly, but that cliffhanger annoyed me so much, man. We need Nasty End. It's more mana, but it's also a 3rd card, says Daniel White. Oh, do we? Do we want to draw 3? Because we draw, oh, actually we do need, so this isn't really cracking the pile in a meaningful way. What we need to do is what we need to do, put one card up to one card from your graveyard on top of your library. So to conclude, we would pull into Praetor's Grasp, right? Okay, so I understand what you're saying. We need draw 3 for this. Because we need to pull 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay. And it's nasty end, right? Yeah, we want nasty end. Ooh, that's rough. Okay, so there's the pile. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Praetor's Grasp. Okay, so Doomsday done. Does Doomsday get exiled afterwards? Exile the rest, put it no. Okay, cool. Round it up, so it's gonna be 16 life. Sure. So we have, I don't know if we win with this. I don't know if we have a sufficient win here. I'm pretty sure Nasty End is in the list, yeah. You do have Sphere as a third draw, right? My worry is that we don't have the colors necessary to win. But we are breaking Sphere, so we can filter. All right, let's just do it. Let's just do it. So we're gonna go ahead and filter a treasure. I'm just gonna leave it. I'm gonna pretend like it's a treasure. We're gonna break this to draw. I'm gonna leave Conjurer's Bauble just down here. Okay, not Conjurer's Bauble, Chromatic Sphere. Nasty End in hand. Nasty End is gonna break Lotho. Because Second Sunrise puts creatures back into play, right? Ooh, that could be deadly. Because we get a fresh Lotho every time. Right? Well, just in this one instance, I guess. So, as additional cost, sacrifice him. Boop. We'll draw Lion's Eye Diamond, Conjurer's Bauble, Second Sunrise. Okay. Nasty End goes to the graveyard. We're going to do Lion's Eye Diamond and Conjurer's Bauble. So this is our hand with Village Rites. Sacrifice Lion's Eye Diamond and discard your hand. Add 3 mana of any color. Activate ability only. So we're going to use the 1 treasure remaining to cast Conjurer's Bauble and then Lion's Eye Diamond. Am I doing this right? Doesn't feel right. These are in our graveyard along with Nasty End and Doomsday. We've got Praetor's Grasp left in our deck. I'm just going to put it in exile. I know this is all backwards, but the graveyard's accurate. Exile is our library. All right. So this is out. This is out. If we do this, don't we just nick Second Sunrise though? Return to play. Yeah, I've got no way to cast Second Sunrise. Did I only want to draw 2? I'm pretty sure new Lotho won't trigger the second each. Oh no, yeah, you're right. No, you're right. You're right. You do have Sphere as the third draw, right? We I don't think I wanted to draw Second Sunrise here yet though. Am I wrong? Like, do we want to draw Second Sunrise off of Conjurer's Bauble? And then I think we want to do draw 2. I'm pretty sure, yeah. I don't think we want to break Lotho though with Nasty End. Don't we just want to draw these two things, break this for a white, and then Conjurer's Bauble up to nothing, and then draw this off the top of our deck, and then it would be... Now we need Conjurer's Bauble at the bottom. What the hell? Ant, what is... You devised the line, I think. Did I do it right? Let me know what the Doomsday pile should be, because I'm cracking it and I'm not immediately seeing it. This is the most taxing deck tech I've ever done. This is like, just Doomsday in general, I never touch. So, let me know. Sacrifice Lion's Eye Diamond, discard your hand, add 3 mana of any one color to your mana pool. Okay. So bearing in mind, Second Sunrise, all these cards are in my hand. I have no mana left. I have a Dranith Magistrate and a Conjurer's Bauble on the field because I played it off of a treasure. Let me check the Lurrus Doomsday line in our server. Yeah, because I feel like I wanted to draw Second Sunrise off of Conjurer's Bauble and put the Nasty End at the bottom of my deck, or put nothing at the bottom of my deck. I don't think I want to put anything at the bottom of my deck. I understand what happens when your deck is gone, but we still have Praetor's Grasp at the bottom of the deck. So this all makes me think that I should just break this, put this in hand, and put Conjurer's Bauble in the graveyard. And then now my deck is gone. I can dump hand, but I'm not able to do anything with Second Sunrise. I guess I could put the draw. Can't you bring back Second Sunrise off Bauble after discarding? Can't you bring back Second Sunrise off the Bauble after discarding? So we use Nasty End to draw 3 cards off the top of our deck, right? So we used Chromatic Sphere. We broke Chromatic Sphere to draw into Nasty End, and the Nasty End sacrificed Lotho to find Lion's Eye Diamond, Conjurer's Bauble, and Second Sunrise. Yeah, someone mentioned Nasty End here, though. Someone mentioned bringing Nasty End into the equation. I'm pretty sure Nasty End is in the list. We also have Nasty End. Yeah, because I have Village Rights in my hand, so we don't technically need the Nasty End. Am I mistaken? Because we're going to filter this, which we already did. So the end state we wound up in was... I put this here, but Second Sunrise is going to bring it back. The end state we ended up in was this. No more treasures. So instead of Nasty ending Lotho, we'll just Nasty end Draneth, and then we'll draw the Lion's Eye Diamond and the Conjurer's Bauble, and then we'll use the last treasure to play out the Conjurer's Bauble. I think that makes the most sense. And then we'll dump hand here to produce 3 white mana. And now we'll use Conjurer's Bauble, and this is our graveyard. We'll use Conjurer's Bauble to bring back Second Sunrise. No, it doesn't even do that. It would draw into Second Sunrise, excuse me, and I'll put up to nothing back into my deck. So my deck looks like this. My deck is from top to bottom, Praetor's Grasp, Conjurer's Bauble. But now I have Second Sunrise, which I'm going to cast for the 3 white that I produced off Lion's Eye Diamond to bring back Lion's Eye Diamond, Chromatic Sphere, Draneth Magistrate. Draneth Magistrate. And all those, that's just these 3 things. And then this gets Conjurer's Bauble as well. But Conjurer's Bauble's not, Conjurer's Bauble's in the graveyard, excuse me. And Conjurer's Bauble. Okay, so Conjurer's Bauble's there. This is in the graveyard. Praetor's Grasp is still in my deck. Okay. No, I didn't say you still had 1 card in your deck. It's good, but I don't think it was needed. Okay. So with what we just did, we are left with a board state that is Lion's Eye Diamond, Chromatic Sphere, Conjurer's Bauble, and Second Sunrise in our graveyard. What we can do now with Chromatic Sphere is discard hand for 3 white. This goes to graveyard. We'll use Chromatic Sphere to draw Praetor's Grasp. We'll use Conjurer's Bauble to bring back Second Sunrise to hand. We'll use the 3 white to bring back Lion's Eye Diamond, Conjurer's Bauble, and the Chromatic Sphere. Right? So Second Sunrise is in our graveyard again. I feel like we're missing endgame of the loop without a way to cast Praetors. Right, so all you really need to do is, well, what's weird is like, initially we were doing a Gravestorm thing here, and you would Second Sunrise this into Bitter Ordeal, and Bitter Ordeal was the win. So for us, we just need to produce 3 black. So let's say that's 3 black instead. We don't need the second Sunrise, right? Now that we have Praetor's Grasp in hand, or how did I do that? It was like the last card there. So we're gonna do break this for 3 black, filter for a black. This goes to the grave, this goes here. What sucks is that we pull into Praetor's Grasp, right, with the Chromatic Sphere, and then we have Conjurer's Bauble here. But if I cast this for 3 black, and I produce a Thassa's Oracle, I don't have a win, right? I feel like we're missing the end game of the loop without a way to cast Praetor's Grasp. So Daniel, if we just did, instead of going for Second Sunrise again, just using Sphere to draw Praetor's Grasp, and then Lion's Eye Diamond to filter the black to get the draw, and just keeping Conjurer's Bauble, that gives us LED. Wait. So we'll put Praetor's Grasp. We'll put Praetor's Grasp there, and we'll draw Thassa's Oracle. No. Sorry. We put Praetor's Grasp there to get Thassa's Oracle. So if we had the black floating, my issue is we could technically Conjurer's Bauble the Lion's Eye Diamond for triple blue, but when do we... The Praetor's Grasp exiles it, right? And we can cast it from exile. You may look at it and play the card. Okay, so we'll do 3 black. Sure. Okay, here's it. Jesus. We'll do that for Thassa's Oracle. Cool. Construct. She's a construct. She's over there. That's how Praetor's Grasp works. We'll use Conjurer's Bauble now to put Lion's Eye Diamond back into our library, and we'll draw a card. Now we'll use this for blue and cast Thassa's Oracle. Jeez Louise, your first pile with Mana Crypt and Village Rites in hand was a good, I think. Ant, I agree. Okay, so that's a win. Wow, my nose. Brutalized my nose with my glasses there. The weight of this deck weighing on me. So that was a turn 3 win with Doomsday. Did it look clean? No. Have I ever used Doomsday before? Clearly not. Was that the most efficient way to do it? I cannot say. There was a hiccup in having Praetor's Grasp stuck at the bottom of the deck, but the beauty of it was Second Sunrise brought back a filter utility in Chromatic Sphere that allowed us to draw that as part of this conclusion. Because we Praetor's Grasp the thing out of existence, I was for some reason thinking it was in our hand, but when you Praetor's Grasp it, it specifically reads, whoo. Search your opponent's library and for a card and exile it face down. Then a player shuffles their library. You may look at it and play the card as long as it remains in exile. So with that in mind, we can Conjurer's Bauble the Lion's Eye Diamond for triple blue or triple anything for the win. So if Bitter Ordeal was our last card, we would Second Sunrise Storm, as was suggested by Ant, to just put permanents into our graveyard, specifically Lion's Eye Diamond and Conjurer's Bauble, and then we would Bitter Ordeal for the triple black instead of the Second Sunrise for triple white. Here we'll triple black for Praetor's Grasp and cast the Thassa's Oracle off the blue. If we added Lotus Petal instead of Nasty End, it would have been easier, and I agree because Village Rites was in our hand, right? Because we had Village Rites in hand. Totally agree. I think if the pile should look like, am I wrong? I feel like the sphere was integral there. I still like Bitter Ordeal over Praetors, but that'll just be a swap in my list. Yeah, Daniel, I mean, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, I like Bitter Ordeal as a finisher more, solely because I can't always guarantee that when I do that, like say we did that and I use Praetor's Grasp, as soon as I do that, if there isn't a Thassa's Oracle in their deck, I don't think we're able to produce a win because Conjurer's Bauble couldn't bring back... We Conjurer's Bauble the solution from our grave, right? We put that into our library and we draw it. So in that instance, it would have been Praetor's Grasp, and then that would have been game, right? If we succeeded. But I don't think we can Conjurer's Bauble back the Second Sunrise. My God, my brain is like melted at this point. Good job doing Doomsday combo. Yeah, Johan, it doesn't feel like a good job. I feel like my mind is cracked right now. Oh, I'm sorry if you can't see these cards. I hope they weren't under my face this whole time. But you get what I'm saying. Like, so the idea being in this particular scenario, we had Chromatic Sphere to help draw the last card of our deck, which was the Praetor's Grasp. But the idea was, like, when we did this to Chromatic Sphere the Praetor's Grasp, it was important because we needed to Conjurer's Bauble Second Sunrise, and then Lion's Eye Diamond for the Second Sunrise. Right, we draw this. The sequencing is clearly off here, but you would do this for the triple white. We did this to filter the white to draw the Praetor's Grasp. And then we did this to pull the second sunrise off the top of our deck, like put it here, put it into our hand, play this for the white to bring these 3 things back. And then you dump this into your graveyard after you do like this for the white, second sunrise. They died, it worked, good job. Without Sphere draw utility, you would need Lurrus on field to recast Bauble. Correct. Unfortunately, our Doomsday line does include Lurrus ability. All right, sad. So all that's important is that Sphere should probably be a part of the Doomsday pile. So it's either you have the draw utility in hand, right? Oof, that's rough. So this is the Doomsday pile that we had with Second Sunrise, but this was on the battlefield. So if you had Village Rites or Nasty End, drawing 1 would not work unless you're able to do that. It's very good job for a first try. Thanks. Wait, is that random from our Discord? Is that random for our Discord? Yeah, let me know if there's a better Doomsday pile, folks. I'd be curious to hear like what Doomsday pile you would operate. But again, this is not what I typically do. I think that you would really need one of these 2 draw utilities. This is painful. I can't say that this Doomsday pile is my favorite. I like looping the second sunrise with Conjurer's Bauble, but Praetor's Grasp is really hampering this. Like you said, you need Lurrus to make it work, but I would like to be able to do this. Like if I had that Emergent Zone out, I would like to be able to do this off turn, right? Which is what I was trying to attempt earlier. But the Chromatic Sphere feels essential for this because it's the second draw you need to, you know, get these both out of your deck. Or again, the Nasty End, I guess, could be draw 3. So you do draw 3, 1, 2, 3, put these into your hand. You do Lion's Eye Diamond, Conjurer's Bauble. You break this for triple black? Triple white? Yeah, again, that's where the Lurrus comes in. You need to get this out and then play this off of this. Right, so we need draw 4, right? No, we need, what do we need? What will make this work? Not Village Rites or Nasty End. The Aristocrat pile for Doomsday, Abby? I think that might be better. We'll need to look at Doomsday piles for this list. But I think bottom line is, does it work? Yeah. Yeah, it works. Did I pilot it well? No. No. What is Doomsday? I've seen Doomsday done and it's admirable, but you need to have like a really clean pile that's efficient and like low to the ground. It doesn't require much mana. Lotho is interesting as a commander though. Let me speak to what I can say about this list. Lotho is a really interesting commander. I think the life loss is going to be a detriment. The mana gain is great, but the life loss is a detriment and it really needs draw, or it needs a way to find draw, which it's not good at doing by itself because it's just generating treasures. So you're really relying on your 99 to pull through your list. And with Lurrus as your companion, you can't add cards like Necropotence, which I would say is probably one of the more tutorable things outside of Ad Nauseam. You're probably going to go for Ad Nauseam like 9 times out of 10. Unless it's a slower game and you need to grind, then obviously fill up your hand with Necropotence. That makes more sense. It does hurt all of the loops, obviously, kind of, because it's a triggered effect. You can get around it. But so far as the Lurrus list is concerned, it's doing a lot of things well, and it is good, but it does require a hand that starts with a tutor and a turn 1 Lotho, excuse me. Or if you're going to play, I wouldn't even say you want to play slow to pull out the Lurrus. It works. Its main hiccup is the lack of draw. Because you can play out your hand really quickly, but if you don't have anything in your hand to do, then you're kind of stunted. I would say that the best plays are probably just using the mana you're producing to pull Lurrus out, put Lurrus out, and then like as additional cost Village Rites Lotho, draw cards, cast Lotho again from the graveyard, stuff like that, just to pull through your list and cast Lotho off of Lurrus. Those seem good, and then obviously if you have the setup in your hand, go for it. But off of Ad Nauseam, bear in mind that the piles look like either Lean In, Relic Order, Animate Dead, and Meat Hook Massacre, right? Let me check. And then we have the Vigil as well. Vigil and the Persister with a sack outlet and a Meat Hook Massacre. That works, right? That's 4 cards. Or Vigil, Persister, and then you would do Ashnod's Altar into your own, and this works with Lean and Relic Water, into your own Savine's Reclamation line with your Lion's Eye Diamond, Conjurer's Bauble, Second Sunrise, again, doing the thing that we just illustrated. But ultimately, you would need to do Lion's Eye Diamond for triple black, pull Praetor's Grasp. How did I win with Thassa's Oracle there? I don't even remember. Wind it back. Let's see here. Return to Lotho is decent. I think so. Nasty End is fine. I think Nasty End can work for it. Oh, geez. Doomsday is best used with a commander that draws. William Hunt. 2023. I think I agree, because having to look for a draw utility or just have one is tricky. Tainted Pact. Yeah. Oh, you want Tainted Pact on top? You're saying that we put Tainted Pact on top of the deck? Because doesn't that exile? Remove the top card of your library from the game. You put. Okay. Praetor's Grass or other Necropotence. Praetor's Grass and other Necropotence? Luis, you can. Because Nasty End into all but Sunrise, Crackler Rest, get mana, Sunrise Loop, or deal. Nasty End pulls into 3. You need to draw into Nasty End, and then you draw into Lion's Eye Diamond, Praetor's Grasp, and the Conjurer's Bauble. And then you would loop, draw into your Second Sunrise. Right, I get that. That makes sense. Thank you, Daniel? Who suggested that? Daniel, I think you're right. I personally don't like Doomsday in this deck. It's tricky to pull into. Yeah. It's an interesting ad, and I don't think it's bad. Like, after an Ad Nauseam, you can just win with Doomsday, but I would just want to win with the Doomsday. I mean, I would just want to win with the Ad Nauseam. Any self-sacrificing permanent draw effect could be looped with Second Sunrise. There's also a land that does it, or Lurrus. Depending on board state, going for another combo inside pile is an option. No, just add it. Or did we already? Did we add what, Daniel? I'm sorry. Nasty End is in the deck. Yeah. Brina the Demagogue is a better Doomsday deck. We need draw, you say. Looks at the One Ring. Stop. Not this deck. We can't play One Ring. Yeah, not with Lurrus. Unless there's another ring. No. One Ring doesn't work in this list. I almost feel like there's a different approach and it doesn't involve Lurrus, and that's sad to say. But what I can say is that I like this deck a lot, and that I think it needs a lot of tweaking. I don't think it's bad at all. I don't know if I like Doomsday either. I almost feel like it'd be better to just incorporate the redundancies with the Ad Nauseam pile. Mausoleum Secrets just works off of black cards being in your graveyard, right? Like, after you do all the ritual ramp and all that those shenanigans, can we just use Mausoleum Secrets to help us find our missing pieces? Like, I would rather just add, like, this as a tutor. Search your library for a black card with a converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Never mind. That's rough. That doesn't work at all. Undergrowth, so bad. Yeah, I could probably run Lotho without Lurrus. Josh, I would be interested in that approach. Non-Lurrus is better, but that's Lurrus for you. All right, well, guys, we did it. I am happy to say that this was I think the first game could have gone better if I knew what I was doing. And the second game, obviously, there was a lot of hiccups. I mean, we've been here for a while, but I wanted to playtest the heck out of this because it's such an interesting deck. I don't dislike it. I just think that we need to tweak the strategy and find maybe more efficient play lines, because it is a little finicky if you're going to roll with Doomsday. I can agree that it's tough without draw. Not exactly draw, but Stitcher Supplier can help find the pieces you need for Lurrus. Okay. I know this. I built both versions, but I prefer the uniqueness of Lurrus. I agree with like Lurrus is such a cool card in tandem with Lotho because of the second spell you cast gives you a treasure. I like it a lot. I think you'd like my version, and Abby, I'll let you share it in the comments after this video. Again, guys, I'm Patrick Marlett, your local game guy. I'm going to edit or maybe relax for the evening. I try to make these 2 hours, but I didn't want to walk away from Lotho and felt like and feel like I did him dirty, because there is something there. I think that this is a good deck. I would love to see all of your list in the comments after this video. I think we should definitely share ideas and thoughts on this list moving forward. There's something to be built here. Lotho can just be in the 99, but I do like it as a commander, and I'm so interested to see what you guys do with this deck. But again, I'm Patrick Marlett. I've lost my voice. I've lost my sanity. That was a tricky one. I'm gonna let you guys go, but I had a lot of fun with you. Hopefully we'll do another good deck next Wednesday. If I'm lying to you, I think I should say, I think I might be out next week. Give me 1 second. I might not be here to brew. Hold up. I am going to be participating in a pre-release next week, which means I could just start very early, but I am out of town the following week. So let me figure on a legendary for us to brew next week, and we can just start up a little bit earlier. I don't want to be late to that pre-release. We'll see. I might leave them if it just doesn't work out because of other work, then I might not be able to do it, but I'm going to try to squeeze in another one before I go on like a micro vacation with my family. I'll see you guys later. Thanks, Pat. These are fun. I think I'd rather run Sickening Dreams. Yeah. Can someone drop the Discord link to this Lurrus Discord? Make sure your list in the comments. I'm going to work on Lotho for a while. Yeah, Daniel, I'm so curious to see what you guys do. But yeah, I said that it was iffy on Doomsday, but couldn't crack the pile consistently, and was using mainly as Adnos finisher, says Ant. And you're the one who wanted me to do Doomsday. No, I don't hate it though. Like, I like the second Sunrise line of play. It's so quirky and it does work. It is just a little difficult without draw immediately accessible. I can agree with that. I'll have to revisit the piles now that I found out about Nasty End. Yes. Ant, please, if you find the appropriate like 3-card draw pile because of Nasty End's existence, like off of Lotho, right? Sorry, I just want to look at the Dispute as well. Dispute is only draw 3, right? Or, sorry, only draw 2 with the treasure. Okay. Yeah, please let me know if there's a different pile. And thanks, guys, again for joining me on this one. I'll see you later. There's a Discord on our homepage. If you're talking to me, there's a Discord for this channel. I'm going to revise it. That's part of what I wanted to do today. I just never had the time. Adversary Seer.